two things I'm really looking forward to this afternoon. The first one is seeing how Fremantle can handle the challenge of coming up against Melbourne. And as for Melbourne, they're flying 17 games in a row, but with Ed Langdon out the side, it's been such a consistent performer for them. Who's going to fill that role this afternoon?
Yes, of course, the former Docker would have been looking forward to playing his old club. Goes out, so too does Luke Dunstan, who is the sub for Nam this afternoon. And, of course, Tom McDonald out of their team as well. Viney and Wiedemann come in for the Ds. Tucker and Walker in for the Dockers. Banfield, Erasmus and Switkowski go out of the Fremantle side. Our experts on Grandstand AFL, St Kilda 300 gamer, Australian Football Hall of Famer Nathan Burke, and three-time Brisbane Lions Premiership player Chris Johnson. Jono, firstly to you, good afternoon.
No, good to be here, Joel, and Jess and Berkey. I really feel the same as you, Jess. I'm really looking for this contest, but I think it was you, Jess, that mentioned it, but just to see where Fremantle hold themselves up on the stage that where it's all won at the end of the year and the end of the season. So we know that they've had some good games here, they've had some bad games here. They're up around the mark at the moment. They've had really a good season so far. Last week wasn't as good as what they would have liked to have had, but they're sitting in fifth position. And look, to win games here gives a great mental strength, I think, Berkey, later on when if they do end up coming back here to play finals against one of those major Melbourne teams.
Round 11 2019, Nathan Burke, the last time the Dockers chased at success here at the MCG. They've only played here 3 times since then. They don't get the opportunity often, coming off a couple of disappointing performances. It's a big opportunity for them today.
Yeah, afternoon, everybody. It doesn't really matter how often you've played here. When you do come here, you instantly think you're going to play well. You can't just come here and think, oh, no, I don't want to play at the MCG. It is the greatest place to play this game. So, yeah, absolutely get up for that. They're coming off 2 really wet condition games the last couple of weeks where they haven't really handled the conditions well. Today's perfect for football. There's a little bit of a breeze. We'll get down to Keys shortly. But to me, now's the time for them to bounce back, and I want to see them bounce back in a big way.
Tossing the coin in the middle, Jeff Farmer, the Wiz.
The Wiz. I used to love watching the Wiz. Used to love watching him, but hate playing on him.
I used to hate him standing on my head.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't think
that's why I hated playing on him.
I don't think you're alone, and that's why so many people loved watching him. So Jeff Farmer, a legend of both Fremantle and Melbourne, tossing the coin out in the middle. Boundary side for us on Grandstand AFL is Kieran Peterson, the Carlton AFLW captain. Kez, it's a chilly afternoon, but a very good contest we've got in store as we welcome you.
G'day everyone, it absolutely is a little bit chilly down here on the boundary. Unlike Berkey just mentioned, the breeze is a little bit swirly, but it shouldn't favour either end, I wouldn't think. Freo have just won the toss. They sent Alex Pearce and Michael Walters into the middle. They've won the toss. They're kicking to the punt road end. Can't wait for this one.
Should be an absolute ripper. Anyone going to go out on a limb and tip the Dockers?
Yeah, I will.
Nice work, Berkey. I'm with you.
Yeah, not for me.
Jono's Melbourne. Jess?
Oh, I'd love to see an upset, but it'll take some effort from the Dockers.
Well, hopefully that's a performance they can produce. Gawn and Darcy in the ruck's going to be one of the jewels to keep an eye on throughout. The established power up against the challenger. Nam and the Dockers here at the G.
And we're underway. Saturday afternoon footy. Gawn palms it down to Oliver. Here's handball intercepted by Sarong, who gives it to Darcy. And now Brodie from the centre square delivers inside 50. Out on the lead is Tabata. He can't go with it. And Schultz fires out a handball to Brayshaw. That's Andrew Brayshaw. He's coughed it up to Pickett from the wing. His kick partially smothered and the ball trickles out of play. We'll have a throw in. Centre wing position, members side in front of the interchange gates.
Justin Power, Hayden Gavin, Simon Meredith, their umpires this afternoon. Bailey Banfield, the sub for the Dockers. Luke Dunstan for the Ds. Darcy takes front spot. Gawn reaches across in the long sleeves and knocks it away. Andy Brayshaw chases it to the line. Viney escorts him across, and we'll do it all again in front of the interchange gates.
It's really good to see Will Brodie get his opportunity here at this football club. Had been up on the Gold Coast for some time now and not getting a look in, but good to see him settle at home here at the Dockers.
36 for the Dockers last week. Brodie averaging 28. His best in Gold Coast colours in a single game was 29. Akers is having a career best year for the Dockers. Lies on top of Oliver. Andy Brayshaw tries to shovel it out. Viney got rid of Walters when he didn't have the football. Free kick to Fremantle from in front of the interchange. Michael Walters will send them forward.
And he's one that they can look for today, Mickey Walters. He hasn't had the best year that we know he can have, and I reckon he's just about to ease into a season, and especially a back end of season, to lift it up to a next level.
Walters chips to Akers. He just thumps it inside 50 for the Fremantle Dockers. It's off hands and out of bounds again. We'll have a throw in 55 metres around from Fremantle's goal. They're kicking to the punt road end. Still no score through 2 minutes of the opening term.
Doesn't look like there's any tags or one-on-ones going through the midfield. They're all going to run pretty free.
Right on the paint of the 50. Goes past both rucks. Neil Bullen fires in after it for the D's, jams it on the boot, gets it clear of the contest. Viney picks up to Oliver, who handballs back to Viney, worked himself through the traffic, scrambles a kick forward, Young's up to meet it, ran into Walker, his own teammate, little bit of tunnel ball from Cozzy Pickett to try and knock it back toward Petrarca. Brody rips it away for the Dockers, kicks to the pocket, Lobb and Petty in the one-on-one. Petty does enough, brings it to ground. Right up against the boundary line, it's out for a throw-in. 30 metres out from the Dockers' goal. Punt road end, 2.5 gone. No score for either side.
Flirts with a little bit of danger there, Cozzy Pickett. I don't mind that in the forward line, Berkey, but in the middle of the ground, I reckon he could have just grabbed that and taken off.
So ball back into play. Gawn against Darcy. Darcy down to Walters. He can't go with it. Petrarca's in there for the D's. Akers over the top of him. Umpires found a free kick for a push, going Melbourne's way to James Jordan.
Like Fremantle at the stoppages at the moment, they're not winning them cleanly, but their pressure on the Melbourne small players has been really, really good, just forcing the ball up their end of the ground. So
Jordan to leave it to Bowie to May, all by foot from left half back, kick along the boundary line, out of bounds on the full, free kick Fremantle.
So Dockers through Young. Such a good player with that lethal left boot. He rolls around onto it now. Kicks to the pocket. Lever had a good position. It came to the front though, roved by Tucker for the Dockers. Throws it on the boot toward goal. Floats across the face. And the first score's a minor one to Fremantle. One behind. Melbourne, Unam yet to score. 3.5 minutes gone in the opening term.
Good start to the Dockers. I think this is what they need, Berkey, especially to intimidate. They know how good Melbourne's been for a long time. They're really settling in well.
So 4 inside 50s to none, going the way of Fremantle early as May brings the ball back in for the Demons. Long kick towards half back. Pack of players dive on it. Sarong at the bottom for Fremantle, and we've got a ball up 70 metres out from Fremantle's goal, right half forward. Umpire quickly tosses it in the air. Bowie collects for the D's. His short kick, it bounces in front of Young of the Dockers. He gives it away to Akers. From half forward, ships it inside 50, looking for Schultz. But there is Brayshaw of the Demons. Gives it to Oliver, who hand passes back to Brayshaw. He's wrapped up in a tackle by Walters. Umpire circles and eventually says, I'll have it. Right at the top of the arc, Fremantle into attack.
This is when Fremantle are at their best. They read where the ball's going, get there early and put a lot of pressure on the opposition.
Pressure in that forward half turnover game's been their go-to this season. Petrarca scrambles it forward for the D's from the clearance. Kick up toward Brown. Was taken by Wiedemann. Bedford's off into space. Bursting inside the 50. Eyeing the sticks. Firing on goal and hitting the left-hand goalpost. It all opened up for Toby Bedford. Just couldn't stick it through. Ties the scores at a point apiece through 5 in the opening term.
Boy, they're dangerous. They've been under the pump for the first 5 minutes. They get the ball forward of centre once and almost get the first goal of the match.
So Ryan with the long kick in. It goes over the head of Pearce, just pitches inside the field of play. And Collier collects and short chip forward finds Lobb. Centre wing, members side. Behind each to these two sides through 5 minutes of the opening term as Lobb sends it long towards half forward for Melbourne. May with the fist across the pack. Thumps it out of play for a boundary throw in between wing and half forward and Fremantle's half of the ground.
Max Gawn just goes and lobs himself into Nam's defence really quickly. I want to see Fremantle use Darcy on the way through and try and draw Max Gawn out of that defensive spot.
Here is the big bloke from Cobden. Wins it down to Brody, to Akers, to Sarong, who wheels around on an arc, sends a high right foot kick inside the 50. Taverner brought it down to Walters and to Schultz, who shoots it toward goal. And it clipped the behind post on the way through there. And so it'll go out of bounds on the full and a free kick to go to Petty on the last line for the D's.
Well, at one point last year, there was a lot of talk about Darcy around being probably the second or third ruckman in line to Maxi Gawn. So a big challenge for him today.
So Petty's long kick to the wing is intercepted by Young, but he's kicked it straight to Neil Bullen standing the mark, who gives it to Bedford to Petrarca. Swings it out wide by hand to Jordan, who goes for a run and has a bounce. He's corralled by Akers. Hand passes it off to Oliver, who kicks the Demons inside 50. Fremantle have the numbers. Walker flies, couldn't complete the mark. Brown laying a strong tackle and forces a stoppage inside 50 for the Demons.
Well, the Demons just haven't had the ability to get the ball in their hands in this forward half, so good opportunity here.
Scores tied through 7 minutes. Tucker jams it out of the Freo defence and finds Frederick, who's just on the ground. Michael Frederick in the long sleeves, pops it over the top to Walters, who has had a strange old season, doesn't have the guard on that hand anymore, and looks like at least he's dropping the ball to his boot a little bit more cleanly in the last few weeks. Runs straight between Taberner and Gawn on the mark. Taberner's left foot kicks a short one and finds Andy Brayshaw.
This is where Darcy needs to push forward, because Max Gawn was caught on the mark up on the wing. He can get in behind him and get deep. 2
kicks from home. Brayshaw sends the Dockers inside the 50 in the Darcy direction. It gets out the back. May grab by Lowe, didn't have it. Darcy knocks it down to Lobb, who hooks it around his body, misses right. 2 behinds Freo, 1 to Melbourne. 7.5 gone. Opening term here on Grandstand AFL.
Opportunity's gone bigging here for the Dockers. Had a couple of good looks at goal, maybe a little rush. They could have actually put Melbourne under a bit of pressure on the scoreboard.
17th in the competition for accuracy, Fremantle Dockers. They can't let too many chances go begging as May brings it in for the Demons, but it's turned over and the Dockers go back into attack. Melbourne, though, have the numbers through May, although he's coughed it straight up to Akers, who's marked 50 metres out at left half forward.
Something's got to give soon. 8 inside forward 50s to only 2 in favour of the Dockers. If you just keep peppering that 50, you're going to get a chance to get a good look at goal.
Man on the marks, around about 49 metres out. I think he's got the distance here. He can get onto a long ball occasionally.
So Blake Akers wheels around, sends it towards goal from 50, just touched on the line. It was a good effort. The Demons defence got there in the nick of time. 3rd behind for Fremantle. They lead Melbourne 1 behind. 9 minutes played opening term.
They are fast starters, the Dockers. They've started so today, the second best team in opening terms this year. And the problem is Melbourne's the best. They've got their work cut out for them to gain their usual advantage. Brown had the kick on the wing, slipped the handball through the traffic. Jackson's up to meet it. Handball to Oliver, caught by Frederick. Got the left foot kick away to half forward. And it'll come bouncing back the other way through Clark. The speedster's got it for the Dockers at half-back. Whips it across the defensive 50 to Ryan on the members' side. 60 out from Fremantle's defensive goal. He goes long, looking for Walters. Hunt got in there right at the last moment, knocked it away, gave away a free. And Walters will take it at left half forward for Fremantle.
Chip short to Young, not 15, forced to play on. Sends it inside 50 again. And coming late was Lowe. Gets spills though the Demons' way. Sparrow couldn't collect, but Neil Bullen runs onto it from centre half back. It's an offensive hand pass to Fritsch, who's run into a bit of trouble. He's stripped of it and now has turned it over. Mundy to Aish, back to Mundy. He flares it out wide to half forward where Tucker marks, 70 from home. Short kick forward's a good one. Finds Collier 50 metres out. Wants to move it quickly. Lob in the pocket. It's marked just inside the boundary. It's a tough angle, 40 from home.
Sorry, mate. Their defensive structures around the ground for Fremantle are outstanding at the moment, and we know when they're doing that, that's when they play their best football. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the league. They need to turn that dominance into some forward pressure on the scoreboards.
So 14 goals, 8 for Rory Lobb so far in 2022. That is flawless. Lobb brings up the opening goal of the game here at the G. Fremantle 1-3-9, Melbourne 1 behind. 11 minutes played opening term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, none at the moment. What they're doing is just getting a lot of numbers behind the football and relying on a fast break. And this is why they've had so many opportunities going forward. The Fremantle Dockers is because they've got their half backs really playing up high and they're able to get the ball inside their forward 50. At the moment, they just haven't had a real good, clean look at goal in terms of a set shot. But this one here was obviously a tough one on the angle, but they've made the most of the opportunities. A couple shots on the run, but they've just got to make the most of the opportunity. You know Melbourne's going to come at some stage, so they've just got to make sure that they get their numbers in the forward line and get it at ground level at the same time, but they've been very good Fremantle at the start.
So ball back in the middle. Dockers with the first of the game. Bounce goes askew. What do we make of Griffin Logue almost starting at full forward on Stephen May? He's kicked 1 goal in 52 games. Fair to say it's not his usual position.
No, obviously it's a bit of a defensive role to stop him actually getting those intercept marks and launching attacks.
Viney out of the middle for the D's. Got it off the hands of Gawn. Tumbles it inside the forward 50 and going back with the flight to take the mark is Fritsch.
And this is where they're good, the Melbourne Football Club, as they go forward out of a centre bounce. They're very, very structured up well forward, and their midfields know where to get the ball in that part of the forward line and almost to advantage, and they rely on their forwards to be playing in front, and if it comes in long and deep, as it just did then, they're going to give a contest.
So Bailey Fritsch, 3 goals in each of his past 2 games. He's kicked a goal in every match since round 21 of last year. He's been a consistent presence up forward for Melbourne, and he gets their first here today. And the D's find the instant answer after the Dockers get the first of the game. 12 minutes gone, opening term on Grandstand AFL. It is Melbourne or Naarm 117 to Fremantle 139.
Yeah, good clearance there by Viney. I think it was just getting the ball forward, and unfortunately Alex Pearce was the next defender in line for Freo. He just didn't come forward quickly enough to impact Fritsch coming backwards with a pretty good mark, courageous mark going backwards, not really knowing what was behind him. So makes the score a little bit closer, but if I had to pick a team who's probably playing the better football, it's certainly Fremantle at the moment.
So a couple of goals for either side in this opening term. Back in the middle, Gawn palms it down. It went past Oliver. And now Sarong picks it up, gives it to Will Brodie. His kick around the corner inside 50, going back with a flight lever. Couldn't quite come down with a mark as the players dive on and forces a stoppage 40 metres out from Fremantle's goal.
Yeah, head clash there. I think Stephen May be going off the ground. Him and I think it was Lever, actually a head clash in mid-air. So great courage there by Lever, but I think when you're doing that and actually going back, and it's actually the shoulder of Lever that's hit May right on the chin. So he's up and about. See how he goes.
So umpire tosses the ball aloft. Oliver, quick kick out of congestion. It bounces only 10 metres in front of him, and he has to run and pick it up again. Hacks a kick outside defensive 50. Bedford lays a tackle against Brodie. Viney's also in there. The umpire says, I'll have it, stoppage inside the centre square.
As we know, they'll look at that, the replay on the bench, Berkey, and get him off and assess him pretty quickly. Medical staff still down there around him at the moment, so some concerns.
Yeah, lurking with intent, the medical staff, and I think Stephen May is doing his best to shoo them away. It's slammed forward here by the Dockers. Mundy, off hands, Schultz up to meet it, somehow got it to Sarong. How did he get rid of it? Umpire said not in the correct fashion. Holding the ball, great tackle, Spargo. And he wins it back for the D's at half back. 2 points the Dockers lead. Earlier today, Geelong winners by 7 goals over the Crows, and Brisbane in a shootout by 14 over the Giants. Gawn's got it at right half back for Naarm. Kicks the members side wing. Lob, he started well. Takes a mark back with the flight. Just defensive side of the wing for the Dockers.
What we know with Naarm, they'll stick to their structures. They'll keep doing what they've always done. They won't go too much away from their game plan that's won every game this year so far.
So Lob kicked the opening goal of the game, sends it to half forward. Easy pickings for Max Gawn. He takes an easy mark at right half back for the Demons. Hand passes off to Bowie, who hand passes backwards to May. Inside the defensive 50, tackled as he kicked it by Logue. It spills to Rivers. His rush kick outside defensive 50 to a one-on-one. Good work by Clark to fist it over the line for a boundary throw in 80 metres around. from the Fremantle goal in front of the Shane Warne stand. The margin is 2 points the way of Fremantle through 16 minutes in the first term.
The Melbourne bench are furiously signalling to Stephen May to come off, but not really in a position to do it with the ball just about to head his way.
Jackson in ruck this time for the D's, slaps it down. Mundy chases after it. Can't gain it cleanly. Akers, little handball around the corner, found Sarong, who has walked across the line. Clayton Oliver, 9 disposals already in 16 minutes of play, coming off 45, 13 inside 50s and 13 clearances last week against North. Just a quiet day at the office for Clary. Spins back in again. Lobb and Jackson. Lobb did the roving as well as the ruck work. Brodie couldn't collect the hand pass. Oliver's 10th disposal, the kick around his body straight down the throat of Clark, who marks on the AFL logo's southern side. Dockers by 2. We played 16 in the first.
Kicks out wide to Tucker. He's marked on centre wing. Plenty of numbers forward of the ball, so he's forced to just chip short to Chapman. Slow build up here by Fremantle. They hold a 2-point lead. Chapman just thumps it as far as he can inside 50. Jackson comes out but couldn't complete the mark. Brodie doing the work at ground level. Hand passes to Schultz, who's run into trouble. Tackled by Lever and May. And that is holding the ball. Free kick to the Demons, and Lever will claim it.
So Lever from inside the defensive 50. Schultz does his best to dive across the kick. Directs it into the centre of the ground. Jackson's out the back here. Handball forward to Viney. They're making the best of limited opportunities, the D's. Jackson handballs it on to Neil Bullen, who streams inside the 50. Eyes the sticks, misses left. Couple of fast break chances for Melbourne. They've missed them both. 1-2, plays the Dockers 1-3. 18 gone opening term.
Well, the fast breaks are coming from Fremantle's defence playing so high up, and it's almost all of their defence. When the ball's inside their forward 50, they're all in their own forward half of the ground. So some opportunities here for Melbourne to get out the back.
Clark with the kicking for the Demons to half back, fisted away by Petty at ground level. Pearce is swung in a 360. Umpire said played on, and then eventually called for a stoppage as the players dived on. So a ball up. 80 metres out from Melbourne's goal at right half forward. Lob against Gawn. Gawn, beautiful tap down to Bedford, who gives it to Viney, whose hand pass back to Bedford. He handballs inside 50. Wiedemann is under pressure with the kick, looking for Jackson. And Sarong picks it up, gives it to Brodie, to Walters. He's stripped of it by Max Gawn, holding the ball.
So Big Max wins the free kick at right half forward for Melbourne. We'll get downstairs to Kez shortly with an update on Stephen May. He spins the ball in his hands, the D skipper. He drops the 9-9 into the forward pocket. Wiedemann from the back, lob up in front, takes a towering mark. Got the rise in from the side, arms as high as the MCG light tower, pulls it in and then almost turns it over straight away. He made Hayden Young take the slips catch. Just reeled it in, chips it forward to Chapman for the Dockers. Underground hand pass from Clark, links up with Ashoff halfback, bit of run from Clark, bounces his kick up the wing, taken by Hunt of Melbourne. Handball to Bedford on the southern side logo. He uses the run of Viney, left foot kick inside the 50. Petrarca standing in front was Cox, slaps it to the boundary. Let's go downstairs on Grandstand AFL, Karen Peterson.
Stephen May did absolutely everything in his power not to come to the bench then. He's definitely very reluctantly gone down to the rooms with the Docs to be checked out for a head knock and concussion. I'll get back to you.
Luke Dunstan, the sub for Melbourne. As the umpire spins the ball back into play. The ball's pinballing around Oliver. He picks it up. He's tackled to the ground by Clark, and the umpire says, I'll have it. Ball up right on the 50-metre arc at left half forward for Melbourne. They trail Fremantle by a point as we tick into time one of the opening term. Brodie emerges with the clearance to Frederick, to Aish. His hand pass to Tucker. He's set upon immediately and now has coughed it up. Rivers, 50 metres out. Hand passes to Jordan, who lets it fly towards goal and nails it. Melbourne hit the front, 2-2-14. Fremantle 1-3-9. 21 minutes played opening term.
Well, one guy that I'm really impressed with at the moment is Toby Bedford. He's had the 6 touches. He's really been involved a couple of times, and he's been able to get in a few tackles as well at the same time, and that's a real good attribute if you're able to get it on the end of the ball. But certainly the measure there by Melbourne Football Club, they knew they had to swing the ball out this side. They had the numbers, and just the ability for Jordan just to sit there and just relax and actually just sort of measure it up nicely. Didn't have a lot of pressure, had 2 players coming at him, but just nicely well done.
Yeah, they're a good understatement. They're a good team. Slightly, aren't they? They just keep coming at you, and even if they're not playing that well, a single passage of play can just cut you open.
I reckon after 17 wins in a row, it's fair to say they're a good team. And here's a good player. Oliver comes streaming out of the middle, kicks to full forward. Wiedemann can't take the mark, knocked away from him. Young's there on the last line for the Dockers. Handball to Ryan, knocked down by Pickett, spins his way through, jams it on the left boot. Would have been a miraculous goal. Bedford's in the pocket. He's been busy. And it's over the line for a throw-in, left forward pocket. Melbourne deep into attack at the city end. They've taken the lead here, Nam, 2-2 to the Dockers 1-3.
Centre bounce clearances, they're just so dangerous, Nam.
So Jackson and Darcy to contest this boundary throw-in. Darcy wins front spot, brings it down to Young, who hand passes to Walker, who loops it over the top to Brody, who releases Tucker by hand. Now to Brayshaw. His hand pass out wide to Walker. Right up against the boundary line along the outer side wing. It's a good chip forward to Lobb, who has Taberner all alone inside 50 and finds him. Marks 45 metres out from goal, slide angle to the right.
Outstanding chain of handballs from their back pocket all the way up to just forward of centre. It was a really good support running by the Fremantle small players. Every sort of handball was a little bit under pressure, but they had someone running in support, and then it was a great decision by Lobb to see Taberner down there against a smaller opponent and trust him to do the work. He needs to go back and put this through. They don't deserve to be behind a quarter time.
It's been pretty accurate so far this year, Matt Taberner. 80% accuracy, 12 goals 2. Let's see what he can do from 50. Gets good purchase on the kick, but it's touched right on the line for another minor score. Fremantle 1-4-10. They trail Nam 2-2-14. 23 played opening term.
Well, Nam has just got himself back in this game from basically just getting the ball forward, and for the last, say, 3 or 4 minutes, Fremantle have really struggled apart from that sort of forward entry we've just watched or just witnessed just then. They need to make sure that they're on this game for almost every minute. They can't just lapse in and lapse out.
Free kick to Jackson on the wing for the D's. Handball off to Angus Brayshaw. Darcy's kick down the line, almost turned it over. And it's out in front of Max Gawn. It'll be tossed back in, just forward of the wing for the D's on the southern side of the ground. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling for you on Grandstand AFL. Nathan Burke, Chris Johnson, your experts. Karen Peterson on the boundary. Umpire flings it back into play. Jackson from back spot, won it down, but only to Mickey Frederick for the Dockers. Handball to Brody, kicks up toward Taberner, had Lever falling all over him. Logue was up to meet it. Hunt right there with him, and it's out for a throw-in 60 metres out from the Dockers goal at the Punt Road end.
So Melbourne by 4 points. As the umpire spins the ball back into play. Brody collects, hand passes to Frederick. From right up against the boundary line, kicks into the corridor looking for Schultz. And has a flying shot towards goal, but misses towards the right-hand side for another minor. Melbourne 2-2-14, Fremantle 1-5-11 through nearly 25 minutes in this first quarter.
Yeah, 1-5 might come back to haunt them at some stage.
Can't keep giving them away. Not against a side like Nam. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch on the text line. Love to hear from you if you're on the way back from local footy or netball or hockey, wherever you might be, right around the country. Love your involvement here. Well, right around the world, indeed. Love to hear from you. Ball on the wing in dispute. Dockers take it away through Brayshaw. Handball to Frederick. Handball went looking for Brayshaw again for Fremantle. Oh, gee, Schultz ran into his own teammate there in Brody. Went to ground, laid an attack. Also wrong, picked it up, but Schultz had been paid holding the ball, and the D's take it away. Gawn's got it on the AFL logo southern side. Chips it to half forward. Wiedemann gives chase. Can't keep it in. Ball bounces out inside the forward 50 for the D's, and it'll be tossed back into play.
And that's where we just seen it again, where the turnover happened in the middle of the ground, but the Melbourne forward line just streaming forward so faster and so quicker. Always is like that when a defence has to get back quicker than a forward line. It's always a little bit more harder for the defence to get back.
So ball in, left half forward for Melbourne. Jackson brings it to ground, but it's sharked by Ryan, who gives it to Darcy. He hacks it towards the wing. Melbourne have the numbers. Good fist by Logue, straight down to Frederick, and Fremantle are away. Flares it out wide to Taberner, who's got it at half forward. He's corralled by Gawn, not sure where to go, and then just rushes a kick towards half forward, looking for Frederick, who got a free kick for holding, and can send the Dockers back inside 50. As the numbers flood back, though, he'll have to be smart with his decision. Pops it up to the top of the square. Gawn's there. Logue in front. Read it beautifully. Marks 20 metres out from goal, slight angle to the right.
What I liked about that, he's seen that Max Gawn tried to take some body and actually got in front of Max Gawn and just floated across the pack and really backed his ability to actually get to the ball to the highest point. That was a superb mark. And I think that's what's got to happen at various different times. As you have Max Gawn drifting back, you've got to try and float across the front of him.
So Griffin Logue has kicked 1 goal in 51 games, the fullback. From the pocket.
Oh, only kicked one.
Yeah, he's kicked it like a defender, unfortunately.
Oh, come on.
Sprays that a little bit wide for a minus score. Fremantle 1-6 now, Charles. Melbourne 2-2.
He was a little bit too casual in the run-up then. He thought he was just going to go back, pop that one through.
So Angus Brayshaw's got her in the back pocket to Bowie. Slice of history in front of this young man. 17 consecutive wins from debut. A win today. He'd tie Albert Lauder, who played for Collingwood between 1926 and 1931, with 18 in a row from debut. Get a bit of a history lesson on him later on. He was a fascinating character, the man they called Harry Lauder. As Pickett darts his kick to right half forward for Nam. And Fritsch has it. He goes inside the 50 from back spot. Wiedemann tried to work his way through. Pearce's handball dangerous on the last line for the Dockers. So too is Young's. But calmer heads prevail through Clark. Handball to Darcy. Jams it on the boot outside the defensive 50. Lobb claimed the mark. Didn't take it. It was off the hands of Hunt. Handball to Mundy. Handball to Brayshaw at half back. Over the top from Walker to Young. Ran into trouble. Ran into Neil Bullen, who fought for the football inside the centre square for the D's. Jammed forward by Sarong. Angus Brayshaw stands in the way. Sarong fires in again. Next to the centre circles. It's a ball in hot contested play. And then Hunt bangs it inside the 50 for the D's. Gawn bring it down, but only as far as Darcy. Handball to Akers at half-back for Freo.
He chips into the corridor. It's a good one. Finds Sarong at the point edge of the square. Wants to flare it out wide where Schultz is waiting on the wing. It bounces toward him. He collects and then measures a pass to Walters, although Lever, a reliable defender, spoils and then collects, although his mark is intercepted by Ryan. Took a good contested grab over Petrarca and he's off. As the quarter-time siren sounds here at the MCG, it's been a close opening term. Melbourne 2-2-14 lead Fremantle 1-6-12. Goal kickers for Melbourne, Fritsch and Rivers, and for Fremantle, 1 to Rory Lobb.
So the opening term was dominated by the Dockers for much of it in terms of the play, certainly the early stages. And as Nathan Burke talked about throughout, they didn't take advantage of the chances. 7 scoring shots for Freo in the first term. They have 1-6, and the D's with a couple of fast break opportunities as well as some set shot chances. And they go to quarter time with a 2-point lead to the reigning premiers. It's Nam 2-2, Fremantle 1-6. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
Power outages can occur at any time. You may lose your electricity, internet, mobile phone service and landline access. And outages can last for days or even weeks at a time. A battery-powered radio may be your only source of information during an outage or in an emergency. Now is the time to check your radio works, has plenty of spare batteries, and make sure it's tuned to your local ABC radio station. ABC Radio is your emergency broadcaster.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
50 metres out. Wants to move it quickly. Lob in the pocket. It's marked just inside the boundary. It's a tough angle, 40 from home. 14 goals, 8 for Rory Lobb so far in 2022. That is flawless. Lobb brings up the opening goal of the game here at the G.
Viney out of the middle for the D's. Got it off the hands of Gawn. Tumbles it inside the forward 50, and going back with the flight to take the mark is Fridge. So Bailey Fridge, 3 goals in each of his past 2 games. He's kicked a goal in every match since round 21 of last year. He's been a consistent presence up forward for Melbourne, and he gets there first here today. He spins the ball in his hands, the D skipper. He drops the 9-9 into the forward pocket. Wiedemann from the back. Lob up in front, takes a towering mark. Got the rise in from the side. Arms as high as the MCG light tower, pulls it in.
Rivers, 50 metres out. Hand passes to Jordan, who lets it fly towards goal and nails it. Melbourne hit the front.
The Sir Doug Nicholls round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Quarter time here at the MCG. A continuation of Sir Doug Nicholls round. And it is Naarm 2-2-14 to Fremantle 1-6-12. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you on Grandstand AFL. Kieran Peterson, the Carlton AFLW captains on the boundary. Kez, Stephen May came off in that opening term with a concussion test. Any sign of him back out there for the D's?
Unfortunately for Melbourne at the moment, still no sign of Stephen May. As you mentioned, he copped some friendly fire from one of his teammates at around about that 19-minute mark of the first quarter. So very interesting to see if he pops back up in the next 5 or so minutes from the boundary. I would imagine Melbourne's focus for this second quarter is going to be contested possession. Written in very big words on their whiteboard, led out by Simon Goodwin, was -8 contested possession. So keep an eye out for that one.
There you go. So we'll keep an eye on Stephen May as well. Thanks, Kez. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch with us. Brenton in Albany says, are the Brayshaws playing on each other? Not necessarily on each other, but certainly they've been in pretty close confines, Angus and Andy, in the opening stages. Another text says, this match should be for the Jeff Farmer Cup, each Indigenous round. He's probably the best Indigenous player for both clubs. Is that a fair call on the Wiz? Quite aside from whether he's the best Indigenous player for both clubs, that'd be a nice little gesture to have the Jeff Farmer Cup.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a big call. You got Aaron Davey, that was very, very good here at Melbourne Football Club, and a number of players that have come through. Even you got Mickey Walters out there at the moment,
All Australian, 5-time leading goal
but
kicker.
I don't disagree. It's there's certainly a few numbers, a few players that would contest it.
How would this be, Berkey? James texts in, says, hey guys, I'm sitting at a cafe on the canals of Venice, getting a few strange looks, but enjoying the call. Go Naarm. I reckon it might be a bit warmer in Venice than here at the G.
Yes, you're a very, very lucky man, so enjoy it, James. Good on you.
Another text that says, guys, please, it's Naarm. The Demons have made a great gesture for this round, and the least you could do is honour that by getting it right. Absolutely agree. It is a bit of an adjustment for us, but we're certainly doing our best to get Naarm in there where we can. 0437 774 774. If you're on the way back from local footy or netball, hope your side had a win. Let us know where you're listening from. Chris Johnson, Nathan Burke, your thoughts on that opening term?
Fremantle really came out firing, and I mentioned during the call, they play their best football when they get their defensive structures really well set, not just around the contest but across the whole ground. And they came out and they started that well, which shows that they're sort of put behind them what happened the last couple of weeks and really got themselves set for this game. The only problem was that they didn't capitalise on their really good form, and we know when you're playing a good team like this, you just open the door slightly, and Naarm went from the back half-back line, got the ball forward really, really quickly and scored and got themselves in front on the scoreboard. But uncontested possessions, Fremantle plus 18, they're plus 8 in the contested possessions. They're doing everything right. The thing that's killing them is 1 goal 6.
You're spot on, Berkey, and the forward entries haven't been great as well for Fremantle. I think they're playing very, very good football. Their football ability to actually link up through hands and their whole ball flow and their ball structure at the moment. I really like the way they're coming out of the back half, but it's entering that forward 50, then finishing it. Melbourne are just playing high half forwards, which means that Fremantle defence have got to come up, and they're just getting out the back a few more times than what Fremantle. Fremantle probably haven't got the pace in their forward line like your Bedford and your Cozzy Pickett, and I think Narm Football Club are the better team so far. Back end of that quarter, it was Fremantle, but I think Narm got themselves back into that game late stages of that first quarter.
Got themselves in front by 2 points at the opening break. Set to resume the hostilities in the middle. Jackson and Darcy. Jackson jumps over the top, but Darcy controls it down.
Yeah.
Brody got caught. Viney
Good tackle.
all over him. Wins a free kick alongside the centre circles. Hands off to Angus Brayshaw. Loping forward. Left foot kicked it. Gone. Had it knocked out of his hands at the highest point. Petrarca took it at ground level. Ricochets to Clark. His handball out wide. The kick comes out wide and it goes out of bounds. It'll be brought back in after Andy Brayshaw couldn't hit the target. Let's go downstairs to Karen Peterson.
Downstairs here, Narm have got Luke Dunstan, their sub. He's taken the warm-up vest off. I'm assuming that means Stephen May's been subbed out. No confirmation yet, but sub looks like it's going to be made for Narm.
It's unfortunate news for Stephen May. If he is out with concussion, is from the ball in. There's no winner from that, and it goes out of play again, although we've inched 10 metres closer towards Melbourne's goal.
So that misses, he'll probably miss 2 weeks, is that right? I think that's the current rule, 1 to 2 weeks, so he won't just miss the rest of this game. There's a couple other games that he'll probably miss as well.
So from the ball in, Aish with the quick kick out, but it's picked off by Brayshaw of Narm, who gives it to Melksham in his 200th game. Long kick into the pocket. It's fisted away by Brown. And Pickett's there, though he can't trap it and keep it in. It goes over the line. We'll have a ball in 10 metres around from the Demons' goal.
Keeping my eye on Christian Petrarca, only the 2 possessions in that first quarter. He just looks like he's labouring a little bit. I was going to say early, geez, he was lazy then, but he really hasn't picked up the pace.
Ball spins back in. Gawn controls it down. Pickett's there. Young dives on top of it for the Dockers to Cox, who has his first touch. A handball to Andy Brayshaw to Walker. Brody's handball knocked down by Melksham. Then Walker lays the tackle on Oliver, wraps him up inside the line. Andy Brayshaw, a handball through the traffic. Missed Mundy. Darcy just came steaming through the big man. Neil Bullen got a fair piece of him. Almost dislodged the football. The Dockers kept it moving. Neil Bullen dived across the kick of Aish. Ricochets to Oliver inside the 50. Poor kick. Sliding into mark was Akers. 40 metres out. Gee, Sean Darcy, you wouldn't want to be in the way of that. The big fella from Cobden, it'll be like a big freight train coming down the Warrnambool line.
He done well to attack the footy, Berkey. We see so many guys that are unsure to attack the footy in case they're going to cause an infringement. So that was really good by Darcy.
So Akers out wide to Aish, kicks down the line. Here's Darcy again. This time couldn't go with it. Brody also overruns it. Tabitha's kick smothered. And then he goes back in and lays the tackle against Jackson, and we've got a ball up centre wing position on the members' side.
Narm are so good on their smothers. We've seen about 3 smothers, kicks and handballs already this quarter.
It's Melbourne by 2 points. It's from the stoppage. Mundy wins the footy, wheels around and then delivers a precise pass towards half forward where Tabitha marks 55 metres out.
So Tabitha goes inside the 50. Logue, the target, an unusual one in terms of his career this afternoon. Knocked down by Neil Bullen, spills away to Hunt. The D's generate some run off the back 50. Petrarca kicks to open space. It's all in front of Bedford. Beautiful pickup. Jams it on the boot. Bounces it toward goal. That is brilliant. Toby Bedford lights up the MCG. And the D's explode from one end to the other. Narm at its best, 3-2-20, Dockers 1-6-12, 4 minutes gone, second term.
Well, Narm had a couple of options there, and I spoke about it just before, how they're playing high up as half forwards and bringing their defence there, but they had a number of forwards that were streaming Cozzy Pickett and Bedford at the same time for Narm. He had this choice, but I like what Bedford done there. He could have almost put the Jets on and gone for a shot on goal, but he knew that Ben Brown was at the back at the same time and just put it out in space, and lucky for him, it just bounced on.
He hedged his bets beautifully, Jono.
He did. But again, just great ball use, and look, Fremantle at the moment just need to keep that ball inside their forward line.
So back in the middle, Gawn rises high, straight down to Viney, who's tackled by Brody, but Oliver picks it up and hacks it towards half forward. Jackson out in front, corrals it beautifully, then hand passes back to Oliver from 50 metres out. He eyes the goals. Pearce on the last line of defence, fists it through for a minor score, but Melbourne, and they're just rising to the challenge at the moment. 3-3-21, Fremantle 1-6.
If you Will Brody playing on Clayton Oliver in the middle, the ball goes out of the middle, you just follow him because he's going to be where the ball is. You just track him every step of the way. So this should be a great lesson for Will Brody.
A couple of Goulburn Valley products going head-to-head. Here's Oliver again, tumbles it inside the forward 50. Petrarca's out the back, swivels his way through the traffic. Handball off to Bedford, around the body for repair for Toby Bedford. 8 times the sub. Where's he been all year? He's got 2. And Naarm's got a 15-point break early in the second term. 4-3-27. The Dockers 1-6-12.
I'm not so surprised, Berkey, what he's been able to produce. I watched him through his junior football, coming through the NAB League and a little bit through the school stuff. He was showing this on a regular basis. His speed, he's clean. There was a big question on his kicking ability, but the last 2 kicks have been dead on for goal. But he really shows that he gives that Melbourne forward line another X factor, another quick small that can either tackle, chase down and get on the end of kicks. And that was just a loose ball that he got onto, and he weighed up the scenario, and just the nous of the goal sense that he had was sensational.
It's time to tag Clayton Oliver too. 19 possessions.
From the
20.
restart, Darcy now, but palms it down, but Oliver sharks it, delivers brilliantly to Jackson at half forward, who hand passes off to Dunstan, the sub, but he sprayed it left for a minor score. Let's get down boundary side to Karen Peterson.
Guys, just confirmation down here. Stephen May subbed out with that concussion protocol. Luke Dunstan into the game. Melbourne, or the Narn Football Club, play the Swans next week, and 16 days from today play Collingwood on that long weekend, the long weekend in June clash. AFL protocol is a mandatory minimum of 12 days, so all things going well, he should be right to come back and play the game against Collingwood in 2 rounds' time.
Thanks, Kez. Of course, it'll be the return of the big freeze here to the MCG on Queen's birthday.
And that's all if he recovers well, Berkey. Obviously, through the week, if he gets another knock at training or something was to happen, the headaches still sort of occur, and the bright lights and everything else, that he could almost miss a fortnight, which is going to be a big blow for Narn Football Club.
Freo comes out to right half back through Brendan Cox, and then reverse horseshoes it out to Chapman at left half back. Chips short to Ryan and then gets it back. He's a good player, this young man, Heath Chapman. Had the spoil of the year in round 1 against Adelaide to save the game for the Dockers. He blasts it up the line. Logan the pack the target. Collier read it well off hands. Handball to Akers, just in front of the wing, retreats, and then crafts a kick inboard for Sarong, who whacks it inside the 50. Petty's there, brings it down. Hunt goes to ground. Dunstan on the last line for the D's. Handball to Angus Brayshaw to Jordan. Towing the boundary line now is Spargo. Back to Brayshaw for Melbourne. High kick up the line toward Brown. Knocked away from him by Pearce. Spilt to Sarong, who comes back to Chapman, and it all starts again from centre half back and Ryan for the Dockers.
Well, this is what they need to do, the Dockers. They just need to starve the football at the moment for Narn Football Club. So
Ryan flares it out wide to Walker, who goes for a bit of a run, then sends it towards half forward. It's fisted away by Taberner by Petty, who then gives it to Pickett, and then to Hunt, who chips short to Sparrow. Mark defensive side of the wing. It's Melbourne by 16 halfway through this second term. Sparrow. Long kick down the line, but Mundy's there for Fremantle and takes the easy defensive mark.
Just maintain possession. This is all they need to do, Fremantle. They've just been really taught a lesson in this first 10, 15 minutes or so. They just need to starve Melbourne of the football club, maintain a bit of momentum here, because the scoreboard and I guess Narn's ability to actually keep on the ball is getting ahead of him.
Thoughts of Chris Johnson with you on Grandstand AFL. Kick up the line from Chapman, spiked away by Lever over the line for a throw-in in front of the members. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you on Grandstand AFL. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Nathan Burke, Chris Johnson, your experts. Karen Peterson, the Carlton AFLW captain, on the boundary. Gawn and Lobb entangle themselves in ruck, almost spilt down to Mundy. Dunstan there for the D's. Sparrow loops the handball over the top to Oliver. Disposal number 21 for the ever-prolific Narm midfielder. Handball back to Sparrow. Now to Dunstan. Knocks the handball over the top into the path of Jordan. Now to Viney. Underground kick inside the 50. Bedford's already kicked a couple. Couldn't trap a hot footy cleanly. Goes out 40 metres out from the Narm goal. The punt road end. It'll be thrown back in the left forward pocket.
So the only 2 goals of the second quarter going the way of Narm. Really putting their foot down at the moment. Fremantle need to respond. Ball in inside the attacking 50 to from the Demons as Dunstan collects but tackled immediately and forces a stoppage 45 metres out from goal. It's Jackson against Lobb. Jackson wins the tap, but straight down to Sarong of Fremantle, who handballs out to Akers. He has a fumble, allows Viney to come in, to Dunstan, to Jackson. Hand passes out to Neil. Bull on the right foot, snap towards goal is offline. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Fremantle in the left back pocket.
Good pressure by Walters there coming in from behind. Without that sort of pressure, Neil Bullen's having a shot from 35 and potentially another goal.
So Brennan Cox to bring it back in for the Dockers, who trail by 16 points, 10.5 gone second term. Pearce, good mark at left half back for Freo. In their white away Indigenous strip, the design incorporating the chevrons across the centre of the jersey for Freo. Melbourne's predominantly blue across the chest and red as it gradients down the jumper. Chapman directs it to Clark at right half back for Freo. He whips it to centre half back and maybe they come up the corridor here. Luke Ryan takes it on. Right foot kick up toward half forward. Collier does some chasing. Has Tucker running in support out at half forward. Goes inside the 50 now. Petty read it beautifully. Took the position on Logue, who was left flat-footed. And Petty took to the air to take it off him and swings the kick to Fritsch.
Straight up the corridor go the Demons. Dunstan, though, in a one-on-one battle against Brayshaw. He wins out. Gives it to Neil Bullen, who hand passes backwards to Gawn, who kicks to half forward. And guess who? It's Toby Bedford. He chips into the pocket. It goes over the head of Viney. And bumped over the line by Clark. And we've got a ball in 20 metres around from the Demons' goal.
If there's a whack on young Toby Bedford, that's the whack on him. He probably needs to get another level to his actually field kicking when he steps up to this level of AFL football.
He's kicked the only 2 goals of this second term, but that kick not his best as the umpire spins the ball back into play. Darcy straight down to Cox, who gives it to Sarong. Hand passes to Mundy. His handball misses Brayshaw. Tackled by Neil Bullen. Cozzy Pickett picks it up and fires towards goal. Melbourne extend their lead, 5-4-34. Fremantle 1-6-12 through 12 and a half minutes of this second term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, just overused the ball a little bit coming out of their backline there, did Fremantle. I think it was Mundy who tried to handball the ball to Brayshaw, but drilled it really hard at him and dropped the footy. And Pickett doesn't need a lot of time and space to actually put that ball onto his right boot and snag one through. So Narm are just starting to get their game going at the moment. Their defensive structures around the ground are making Fremantle go backwards and sideways, which in the first quarter they didn't have to do that. Now when they are, and they get the ball inside forward 50, it's a real high entry. And when Narm get the ball high in their defensive area, they just off to the races, go quickly down the other end. So at the moment, everything is being played the way that Narm wanted to be played.
Nathan Burke on Grandstand AFL alongside Chris Johnson, your experts. Melcham at half forward from the clearance. Got it inside 50 to Fritsch, who waltzes in, jams another through. And this is what Narm can do. Maybe it's what only they can do. 6-4-40. They've turned it on with 4 goals in this second term while the Dockers have been held scoreless and we've only played 13 and a half minutes.
Well, again, the centre clearances, Berkey, they're just so good at it, Narm Football Club. If they get the opportunity in their centre clearances, they work it out well and they just scrap it forward. What they're really confident in, that I love watching them, is that they're very confident in a one-on-one contested situation. They don't care how it gets to their teammate, but as long as it's one-on-one and they back and they actually win their contest. So if they're doing that, it actually builds a bit of confidence, and you actually can predict what your teammate's going to do. And just there, it's just smart use of the body. Maybe a push in the back there, but you've got to go and kick him. He was able to go and finish it off quite well.
So Nam are flexing their muscles and they go forward again out of the middle. Gawn kicks towards half forward. Melksham can't go with it. Viney collects, gives it to Fritsch, who hand passes back to Gawn, who thumps it into the pocket. Pickett flies! Can't come down with a mark. Fremantle defence under the pump. It's still alive into the pocket. In the pocket, Pickett was copped one high and he's got a free kick 50 metres out against the boundary.
Well, Narn clearances at the moment, 3-9, so they're really getting on top in that space at the moment, Narn Football Club.
Pickett, he lays it off to Spargo, who marks it right half forward just outside the 50-metre line. It's a crowded forward 50, so Spargo kicks to the top of the square as the players fly. It spills to ground. Rivers, he receives the hand pass from 50 metres out towards the square. Gawn has a few to beat and it's rushed through for a minor score, but the Demons are doing all the attacking. 6-5-41, they lead Fremantle 1-6-12 through 16 minutes in the second term.
3-11 inside forward 50s in favour of Narn Football Club.
And the clearance is 9-3 in favour of them as well.
And an obliteration here in this second term so far. It's going to come back as well. Long kick in from Cox, gobbled up by Gawn, who extends and pulls it in and lays it off inside the forward 50. Quiet so far, Petrarca. He's got an opportunity. 45 out, 5 in from the boundary left of centre.
That's just chemistry right there. Gawn knowing where the space is and sort of Petrarca led in that area, but then Gawn just actually putting the ball out there, and then the trust in Petrarca to know that Gawn wouldn't put him in harm's way, and just a nice little mark, uncontested mark inside forward 50.
So Christian Petrarca starts his approach from outside the 50, spins the footy in his hands, strikes it from 49 metres out, leaves it a little bit narrow. Another behind to Nam. 30 points the spread, 6-6 the Ds, 1-6 the Dockers, 17 minutes gone, second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
So Cox short to Chapman in the back pocket. He kicks across the face of goal back to Cox in the left back pocket. Sends it out towards half back. Tucker in on one-on-one. He receives the hand pass, and then that's just a wobbly kick towards the wing. It's picked off by Brayshaw of the Demons.
Well, centre forward at the moment, Fremantle cannot win a ball in the middle of the ground through the corridor and even out on the wings.
Brayshaw short to Bowie. He gives it back to Brayshaw. Hand pass over the top to Rivers. Evades a tackler. Gets on that right boot and delivers to Melksham inside the 50. Fisted away by Young. Gawn plays Rover. Hand passes backwards looking for Dunstan. But Fremantle there have the numbers to wrong. Kicks off the deck, although it's going to come back again.
Jordan shares it wide, sliding in his Sparrow. Good mark down low from the South Australian. 0437 774 774 to get in touch with us here at the MCG. Nam by 5 straight kicks in this top 4 clash. Sparrow inside the 50. Brown parted the seas. Couldn't take the ball with him. Walker's there for the Dockers. Up and under outside the defensive 50. Low. Terrific mark.
Great contested mark there. Knew that it was coming and just really strong overhead. We've seen him take a couple of them today.
Oh, it's a dangerous short kick though. Set Akers a task. Jordan infringed. And Blake Akers will take the footy just defensive side of the wing for the Dockers in front of the interchange gates. Melbourne by 5 straight kicks. The Dockers yet to score in this term.
Akers just sends a high ball down the line. Walters has to fly. Takes a good mark in the end over Lever. Has Frederick in space at half forward and goes to him. He's marked 2 kicks from goal. Delivers a low pass looking for Lobb, who marks just outside the forward 50. Close up against the boundary line. It's a crowded forward 50. Four goals for the Demons this quarter. Fremantle have not scored as Lobb has the ball. Lever stands on the paint of 50. He lets it go. It's going to land in the top of the goal square. And Lever just taps it through for a minor score. Nam, 6-6-42. Fremantle 1-7-13.
Sorry, Jess, that really frustrates me, Berkey. A guy that he can just put it, he knows he's on the edge of his distance, he puts it straight to the goal line. As a defender, there's nothing easier than to defend, put it straight over the point over the goal line, and you get the ball back. And put it out 10 metres out in front of the goal square and force your defenders to actually defend.
And don't kick it to Max Gawn.
Yeah, exactly.
The D's to the outer side quickly. Spargo's got it. No nous in that, Jonathan.
No, not at all.
No nous. We need more nous. Spargo's got it. He chips short toward the logo for Bowie. So Jake Bowie, number 17 on his back, of course, been involved in all 17 of Melbourne's wins consecutive since his debut. Kicks up toward half forward. Darcy had it pinched by Wiedemann. Umpire said that the big fella had enough of it. And it'll come back to Sean Darcy, the best and fairest last year for the Dockers. Awkward kick made Brodie work, floated over his head. Swooping in was Tucker. Handball away to Brayshaw, and the Dockers come through the middle.
He kicks laterally to Young, who's marked still inside the centre square, and then chips on the 45 to Brodie, who's marked near the centre circles. Hand passes to Chapman, who hand passes forward to Brayshaw, who hand passes backwards to Brodie from the logo, chips out wide and finds Walker.
This is all good and well by Fremantle, but what they've done, they've actually given Melbourne or Naan time to get back in the defensive 50.
Oh, Walker's kick doesn't hit the target, and Brayshaw has to turn tackle at the top of the 50. Won a free kick though for holding the ball, the bottom of the pack.
Save the day then, Brayshaw, because that's the last possible spot on the ground to do a bad kick and turn the ball over, because Melbourne scored 9 times out of 10 when they get the ball back there.
So Brayshaw decides to kick laterally to Cox at centre half forward. This time kicks into the pocket, looking for Lobb, who got rid of Lever but has given away the free kick.
So Max Gawn was back there again. So why don't we try and isolate, if Fremantle, why don't you try and isolate your ruckman or Max Gawn's direct opponent and kick it to him? That's as simple as that.
Darcy was down there too, but just not making himself a target.
Lever outside the defensive 50. Good mark from Sparrow, juggling it and falling it to the turf just inside the boundary line in front of the members at half back for the D's. Melbourne 6-6, Naarm 6-6. The Dockers 1-7, 29-point spread. Just drops it into the bucket, uncontested in the end, in a pack of about 6. Jack Viney read it best.
And it was right in front of Darcy. They didn't want to kick it long down the line because Darcy was sitting right down the end of the line there and he just couldn't even get to that football.
Viney to Jordan in front of the Freo interchange. Jordan wheels away onto the right boot. Drops the kick on the numbers of the 50. Standing tall in the marking contest was Cox. Got rid of Wiedemann pretty easily in the end and takes the intercept mark for Freo.
And what we've seen from Freo in the first quarter, Berkey, was the run, the carry, the link up through hands. Haven't seen it this quarter.
No, they're just sitting back and chipping the ball to each other now, and marks 58-34 in favour of Fremantle.
Fremantle chipped the ball in their defensive 50. And Clark now chips out wide to Chapman, who's kicked down the line, had too much on it for Collier. Allowed Brayshaw of the Demons to come in. He gives it to Petty. He goes backwards to Bowie. And his hand pass to Spargo, and now to Brayshaw, and Melbourne can run away again. Brayshaw delivers to half forward, and Neil Bullen's mark just inside the field of play, 55 from home. He wheels around and kicks it to a dangerous position. Wiedemann in front position, Brown at the back. It spills to Viney, who hand passes to Fritsch. Left foot snap is missed to the left-hand side. It is all Melbourne in this second quarter, 6-7-43. They lead Fremantle 1-7-13.
Could have raffled it off then. There was about 3 or 4 other players just lining up and they actually just pointing towards a goal and gave them the licence to have the shot.
So Ryan wheels in from fullback in the purple and pink boots. Chips it to Tucker. The Horsham product just inside the defensive 50. So Naarm with 4 goals 5 here in this second term. The Dockers with a solitary behind. Brodie a handball forward to space on the wing. Jordan beat Walters to it. Oliver there to provide support. Handball back to Jordan. Curls it around his body. Kicks around the wing. And it's easy pickings for Darcy Tucker in front of the Melbourne interchange. Had Darcy on short. Elected to go back behind the mark and then go defensively for Cox. And they'll again try and control the ball and start the switch off half back here, the Dockers.
Chapman from centre half back delivers into the centre to Frederick, who hand passes over the top to Clark. From the centre square, it's a long penetrating kick to Lob in the pocket. He marks 20 metres out, 45-degree angle, probably even a tougher angle than that in the left forward pocket.
I love the kick into the middle. You can switch the ball from side to side, and that's what Fremantle have been doing, but they've been going from one side to the other. This time they went into the centre corridor to Frederick, who quite smartly played on with a handball over the top. Didn't allow the Melbourne defenders to get back.
The Dockers desperately need this to end a run of 6 goals in a row by the Demons, and Lob delivers. He's got 2. Fremantle have 2. They trail the Demons 2-7-19 to 6-7-43. The margin's 24, 25 and a half played in this second term.
You're on the money, Berkey, that courage to come in the corridor, and then again, we spoke about the link-up handball, hasn't seen a lot of it. That there, they were able to have runners come past Frederick as he marks that ball in the middle of the ground, and then Abel Clark just to get it forward. And a couple of times they have gone forward this quarter, they haven't looked up. They've got in the middle of the ground, they haven't looked up, and they've had one-on-one forward. This time they actually were forced to kick long because they had no other choice. I think they've just got to trust their teammates. And I spoke about Naarm before, how they trust their teammates one-on-one. I think if they look up inside forward 50, they see one-on-ones, I think they've got to go to their forwards.
Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster calling it for you. Karen Peterson on the boundary at the restart. Sarong to Brayshaw. The Dockers move it forward inside the 50. And it was from Andy to Angus as the Melbourne defender takes an intercept mark inside the back 50. Wonderful kick to Oliver, measured it beautifully. He took the mark in pressure and then spots up Dunstan out toward left half forward. The Demons away again. Dunstan just on a marauding run, knocks the handball over the top to Viney, strolls to 45, into the pocket. Wiedemann! Got a big old sit in the left forward pocket, pulled it in horizontal to the ground, and he'll go back from 20 metres out on a tight angle.
We've seen 2 good marks today. Lob took the first one. I'll talk about why I think this one's better after as a shot.
So Wiedemann around the body, strikes the post flush. It ricochets 15 metres back into play. Margin is 25 points. The judging is all yours, Nathan Burke.
Rory Lobb's mark was probably higher and more spectacular, but he took it over his own player. Don't you think Speckies, they mean a little bit less when you're standing on your own player's head? You've got to be standing on the opposition's head for it to really count.
Good point, Berkey.
So Fremantle bring it in. A long kick by Ryan to the wing. Akers. He collects and sends a kick towards half forward where Tabiner marks. Tamada swings it inboard to Brayshaw. He wants to keep switching the play to Young. At centre half forward. Kicks into the pocket and over the head of Aish. Out the back is Viney. And again the Demons rebound. Gives it to Bowie, who kicks to the wing. It goes over the head of Dunstan. He'll try and run onto it. Taps it to Melksham's advantage. Intelligently, Melksham collects. Loops the hand pass over to Pickett. From right half forward. Sends it to Brown in the pocket. Fists it over the boundary line for a throw in 30 metres around from the Demons' goal. They lead by 25, 28 played second term.
One other thing a Specky needs in the background is a goal post or a point post, Berkey. I think in the middle of the ground it doesn't matter.
No, I never worried about that when I took my Speckies. What was in the background?
Need a point of reference to judge the height.
Yeah, that's right.
Ball thrown back in, and a term that was all Naarm's ends. 4 goals, 6 to the D's. They withstood an early challenge from Fremantle and answered back with interest in the second term. And they go to the main break, 25 points to the good. Naarm 6-8-44 to Fremantle 2-7-19. 2 goals to Bailey Fritsch for Naarm, 2 to Toby Bedford, who lit the game alight in that second term. A goal to James Jordan in the first for the D's, and 1 to Cozzy Pickett as well. Both of Fremantle's goals coming through the big fella, Rory Lobb, who has started pretty well but hasn't had a lot of mates up there in that forward 50 for the Dockers to half-time. 25-point lead to Naarm earlier today. Geelong by 42 points over Adelaide. Brisbane by 14 points over GWS. A couple of games to come tonight, depending on where you are around the network. Gold Coast and Hawthorn up in Darwin, and the Eagles and the Dogs in the West. Our games for broadcast across the ABC network this evening. Chris Johnson and Nathan Berkey are experts on grandstand AFL. Jono and Berkey, that was a pretty imposing second term from Nam.
Well, it all comes to the inside forward 50s. They were able to get the ball inside their forward 50 now. It's 8-17 in that quarter. So they were able just to pepper it, and they just look like a more, I guess, structured outfit. They got running going, but I think it comes down to the ability of Clayton Oliver and Viney combined with them both. 22 possessions in that quarter. So they were just a better team going forward. They were lining up everywhere, and Fremantle just sort of pulled themselves back a little bit, Berkey, and all they wanted to do was chip, but we've seen when they can actually link up and run and move the ball quicker inside their forward line, they were a bit better. But I think just in around the contested ball and the uncontested ball at the moment, I think contested ball is about even, and the uncontested is not too much between it. So it's really about ball use and ball efficiency and decision-making for me. I think Melbourne just makes better decisions with ball in hand.
Yeah, and Justin Longmuir is a relatively young man, so he's got a full head of hair. I reckon at the moment, he'd be sitting up in the box going, oh, what are we doing? Why are we playing like this? Because the difference in the game style from the first quarter to the second quarter was marked. And there's no way at quarter time that he went down and said, hey, guys, we're going to change the way we're playing. We're going to start chipping the ball around. 42 marks to 22 Fremantle had over Nam that quarter. So he'd be sitting up there going, somebody call a timeout, because this is not how we wanted to play. The boys have instantly gone back into this, chip the ball around, and that generally happens when they get scared. You get scared of the opposition's ability to run the ball from one end of the ground really, really quickly, and you don't want to take a chance, and you don't want to link up with a handball, and you don't want to hit a short target through the middle. We saw it with St Kilda versus Nam when they played. They went into their shell, but the good thing was at halftime they came out and they said, hey, that's not going to win us the game. We're not going to play like that, so let's take them on. Let's take Nam on and really run at them, a bit like what Fremantle did in the first 15 minutes. So hopefully that's what they're resetting themselves to do, come out and actually take this game on, because if they just try and play keepings off, eventually they'll muck it up and Nam will score heavily. They'll just hit them every single time.
And the other big thing is about the rucks. We know that Maxi is very, very a big figure, and he certainly goes a long way for Nam to be the winning team at the end of the day. I think what they need to do, they need to identify, okay, if I can see Maxi Gawn down the line, well, I need to spot out where our ruckman is, and we need to go there, and we need to use him, we need to go through him to keep moving that ball forward, because Maxi's just going to sit behind the ball 50 metres, 55 metres. If you're going to kick a long ball, he's going to be able to judge that quite well, and we've seen it a couple of times when they went inside their forward 50 Fremantle that Max Gawn just sitting there. Let's find our ruckman. Where is he? He's got to push forward. But you made a good comment too, Berkey, that Darcy just didn't want the ball, didn't demand the ball to him. He's got to demand the ball, and if he gets one or two up on Maxi Gawn's going to start looking for him. So that's the other way they can expose Nam Football Club today or tonight.
So it's half-time. It's a 25-point lead to Nam. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch. Marcus from South Melbourne said, Jono, that he didn't mean that Jeff Farmer was the best player to play for both Melbourne and Fremantle.
For sure.
Absolutely. I don't think that's a great big list of players either.
No.
So he owns that one absolutely.
For sure.
A text coming through, we're Freo fans visiting from over west, and we're shocked to find this game is not on TV in rural Vic. Thank goodness for the good old ABC grandstand broadcast. Just about to turn it off at this rate though. Not looking good, of course. Unlike WA, you won't get all the Dockers games on free-to-air TV here. Pete in Darwin says, I'm in the car on my way to Marara Oval to see the Suns and the Hawks and have a few pre-game beverages. I reckon Pete's got it sorted out, Berkey. Between Venice or Darwin, we had a text from Venice earlier. James was at a cafe in Venice listening and hoping Nam would win, and Pete's in Darwin. Where would you rather be?
Yeah, I think James has got his nose in front by about 10 kilometres.
Maybe a little bit more. Scotty from Dandenong says, "G'day team, listening at work, loving the call as always. Can you give us an update on the weather? Sounds like it might be a little bit slippery with small forwards doing the damage." Might be a little bit of...
No, not at all. Great conditions for footy. Today in Melbourne has been great football conditions. Bit chilly, bit
no
cold.
Breeze, no
breeze at all, but just nice, lush, sort of softy ground. Maybe a few people falling over has been a couple of games that I was at today, Berkey, but not here tonight at the MCG.
Cam's a truckie from Melbourne heading across the Nullarbor on his way home from Merredin in WA. Bet you Freo want to play more games at the MCG, but they need to have a real go to earn more big games at the G. It's not happening at the moment, says Cam. Good on you, Cam. Thanks for your text. 0437 774 774 to get in touch with us here on Grandstand AFL. Love to hear your thoughts. If you've been at the local footy or the netball or the hockey or anywhere today, let us know if you're driving home, where you're listening from, and maybe even how your team went right across all of our football states. Here at the MCG, it's half-time. It's Naarm by 25 points. Second half coming up soon. Before that, let's go to the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has offered his condolences to the family of an Australian man killed in Ukraine. Relatives of 47-year-old Michael O'Neill says he was killed while providing humanitarian aid in Ukraine's war effort against Russia. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has confirmed it's assisting the family of a man killed in Ukraine. Mr. Albanese says his family is requesting privacy.
This is a tragedy, and I want to give my condolences to the family of the person involved. The Australian authorities, through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, are providing consular support.
Russian forces, meanwhile, appear to be tightening their grip on Ukraine's Luhansk region as heavy fighting continues. Here's Larry Buttrose.
A Ukrainian official says its forces may have to retreat from their last pocket in the region to avoid being captured as Russian troops press their advance in the east. The Russian focus in the region has shifted the momentum in the 3-month-old war. President Volodymyr Zelensky says troops are defending its territory as much as resources allow and vows the Donbass region will remain Ukrainian. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military claims it's destroyed numbers of Russian tanks and other armoured vehicles in the latest fighting.
Meanwhile, the governor of Ukraine's Luhansk region says there are now around 10,000 Russian troops there. He says Russian units are permanently stationed to the region, attempting to make gains in any direction they can. The governor of the U.S. state of Texas is expressing anger about the police response to a mass shooting at Robb Elementary School that left 21 people dead, including 19 children. It's now been revealed police delayed entering a classroom because they believed it was no longer an active shooter situation. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he was misled about what happened, causing him to share inaccurate information with the public.
I am livid, and it is imperative that the leaders of the investigation get down to the very seconds of exactly what happened with 100% accuracy and explain it to the public, but most importantly, to the victims who've been devastated.
Greens MP Stephen Bates has won the seat of Brisbane, with Labor conceding defeat this afternoon. It's the third seat won by the Greens in the Queensland capital. The electorates of Brisbane and Ryan were taken from the Liberal National Party and Griffith from Labor. Mr Bates says the Green slide shows Queenslanders are fed up with the status quo.
We knew that people were interested in what we were saying, and we knew they liked our policies because they were telling us. They told us they wanted to get 100% publicly owned renewable energy. They wanted dental and mental health into Medicare. They wanted action on the housing crisis. And it's turned into a victory for us.
New South Wales has recorded another 25 COVID deaths. 7,540 new infections have been reported. COVID hospitalisations are at 1,139 and 33 people require intensive care. South Australian police say they'll conduct a thorough and independent investigation into a police death in custody in Adelaide overnight. Police say a 41-year-old man became unresponsive after being arrested following a fight with a 17-year-old boy near the corner of King William Road and North Terrace. Detective Inspector Brett Furtherby says all SA police processes will be examined to ensure officers acted in accordance with the policies and the law.
The matter has been determined a police death in custody, And Major Crime and Ethical Professional Standards Branch will be conducting a full, independent and thorough investigation into the incident and the cause and circumstances of the 41-year-old man's death.
A gas company has started preparation for work for fracking at a huge top-end cattle station despite opposition from the pastoralists and traditional owners. Sue Lannin has the details.
Gas company Sweet Pea Petroleum, which is owned by ASX-listed Tamboran Resources, started clearing land yesterday on Rallin Australia's Tamborini cattle station. The station is in the remote Beetaloo Basin, a priority area for gas development by the Northern Territory and Morrison governments. Traditional owner Johnny Wilson is the head of the Nurdalingji Aboriginal Corporation.
There is sacred sites on the property, really close to where they are wanting to work on.
Tamboran told the ABC it has legal approval to do the works, has consulted with some traditional owners and says the works won't affect protected sacred sites.
ABC Sport now has its very own newsletter, and we'd be pumped to have you on board.
Woohoo! The ABC of Sport will provide a wrap of all the best stuff that's happening in sport every week.
Simply go to abc.net.au/connect
and get ready for a sport hit in your inbox every Friday.
Get on board with the ABC of Sport newsletter.
For content that makes you think.
Or allows you not to.
This is Sir Doug Nichols' Round.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The D's generate some run off the back 50. Petrarca kicks to open space. It's all in front of Bedford. Beautiful pickup. Jams it on the boot. Bounces it toward goal. That is brilliant. Toby Bedford lights up the MCG. And the D's explode from one end to the other. Nam at its best. Here's Oliver again, tumbles it inside the forward 50. Petrarca's out the back, swivels his way through the traffic. Handball off to Bedford, around the body for a pair for Toby Bedford. 8 times the sub. Where's he been all year? He's got 2.
Guys, just confirmation down here. Stephen May subbed out with that concussion protocol. Luke Dunstan into the game.
Mrs. Brayshaw tackled by Neil Bullock. Aussie Pickett picks it up and fires towards goal. Melbourne extend their lead.
Elsham at half forward from the clearance. Got it inside 50 to Fridge, who waltzes in, jams another through. And this is what Nam can do. Maybe it's what only they can do. Viney strolls to 45 into the pocket. Wiedemann! Got a big old sit in the left forward pocket. Pulled it in horizontal to the ground.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half time here at the Melbourne Cricket Grounds on Wurundjeri country, people of the Kulin Nation. Sir Doug Nichols Round, celebrating the Indigenous and First Nations people contribution to our game and society more broadly. And it is Nam Football Club 6-8-44 to Freo 2-7-19 at the half. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital on a big day of footy, a big day of sport more broadly. Winners earlier today after the thriller at the SCG last night. Geelong 15-7-97 to Adelaide 7-13-55. 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year to James Stewart. 40 disposals, 16 marks, 14 intercepts for the Cats defender. Not a bad day at the office for he. Jeremy Cameron getting the 2 from Mark McClure in the ABC Footballer of the Year, and Mark Blitzarves picking up the 1. 3 votes to Lockie Neal, in the Brisbane Lions win this afternoon over the GWS Giants. 14 points the Lions won by. They trailed by 2 goals at quarter time. 14 goals to the teams combined for in the opening term. Neal with 39 touches, 6 tackles and 2 goals in a pretty virtuoso performance from the Brownlow medalist. The Lions winning in the end of that one. 16-14, 110 to the Giants, 15-6, 96. Later tonight, West Coast and the Bulldogs over at Perth Stadium for some of our audience. And for others, Gold Coast and Hawthorn with Corbin Middlemass up in Darwin. Of course, as Sir Doug Nichols round heads to the top end for the second year in a row, which is always a great occasion to take footy up to Darwin. 0437 774 774 to get in touch with us on Grandstand AFL. Joel Peterson and Jess Webster with you. Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke, your experts. Karen Peterson, the Carlton AFLW captain on the boundary. Repeating the news from earlier that Kes brought us, Stephen May subbed out with concussion with an incident, a head clash with Jake Lever in the opening term about 2/3 through. So Luke Dunstan, the sub for Narm, has been activated. Bailey Banfield, the sub for Fremantle, has not been required as yet. Couple of texts, of course. It's a big day. Great to have country footy and community sport back in 2021, and so many people travelling and on the road coming back from watching their footy, their netball, maybe their hockey team play. M from Melbourne says, "Hi team, enjoying the call. Excuse my ignorance, why does the Sir Doug Nichols round go for the 2 weeks? Really enjoying the call and the ceremony. It truly is wondrous." We discussed this before the game, Jono, and we think it's so each club gets a home fixture within that 2 weeks.
Spot on, Joel. That's exactly the reason, because we all used to. I think we celebrated it just in that 1 week, and I think it was West Coast Eagles who took the initiative a few years ago, and they had a Thursday night game or a Friday night game, and they'd done their welcome, a massive welcome, the country, everything at Optus Stadium, the new one. And I think that's where it sort of thought, oh yeah, let's do it on both sides of Indigenous round, because we all used to just celebrate during time at the G, but now it's celebrated across the competition over 2 weeks.
And it's become one of the great features of the season, and I think looked forward to by all. Pete in Geelong says, hi everyone, just watched our fellas, the North Shore Seagulls, get beaten by the Colac Tigers pretty heavily the Tigers' way. Better luck next time. Pete from Geelong. Thanks, Pete. M from the Hay Lions Footy Netball Club is on her way back from Nettie. They had a win today. She's between Moolameen and Hay up there in the Golden Rivers region on the border of New South Wales and Victoria in the Riverina. Beautiful part of the world. Thanks, M. Another text coming through. Make sure you leave your name and where you're listening from. Says, I'm listening to the game from a mine site in the Pilbara. Freo need to find the pressure from the first quarter. Go Freo. Absolutely. Jason from Morwell said, love the call. You said James Stewart got 3 votes for long. It was Chom Stewart. Absolutely, Jason. Good call. So there's quite a few texts coming through. 0437 774 774. And Anthony in Wild Dog Valley says, I'm at the Lee and Gather Fish and Chip Shop waiting for dinner. It's not quite Venice or beautiful Darwin, but I'm not complaining. Absolutely, especially with fish and chips coming your way for dinner. Anthony, that is a very good call. 0437 774 774 to get in touch with us tonight. Narm by 25 points as we head into this second half. Text there, Berkey said that the Dockers need to find the pressure from the first quarter. It's probably a pretty good shout.
It is. They need to find both sides of that, though. They need to find the pressure and the attack. I don't think it really was the pressure that let them down so much as an unwillingness to really take the game on and get the ball going forward quickly. They just maintained possession far too much and played into Melbourne's hands, really. So that's what I want to see from Fremantle this quarter, actually take the game on and try and win it rather than stop Melbourne from scoring.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think you spoke about it just before we had our break, Berkey, after half-time there, and you said that Justin Longmuir needs to just get to the... He needed a timeout, and he needed to go, hey, timeout, come out, talk to the boys halfway through that second quarter and say, hey, boys, we can actually use the ball, and we look really good when we attack the game. And they looked like that in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the first quarter, but they just went away from that. And I think if they're wanting to challenge Narn Football Club here tonight, they need to actually... They're going to lose the way they're playing now. Well, they might as well have a real go at it and try some risks in this third term.
What do you think about that rule, just by the way? Just one team each, time-out?
Time-out during the game?
During the game. Hey, boys, we're playing terrible.
It'll go
10-second time-out.
It'll get a go in the pre-season series next year.
Yep.
Put money on it now.
Love your ideas, Berkey.
If it's a stupid rule, it'll come in. We only bring in stupid ones.
Well, when you come the boss, Berkey, it's in.
Yep,
it's in.
So second half underway and Fremantle win it out of the centre. Brayshaw, long kick inside 50, fisted to the ground by Lever. And Brayshaw picks it up. His kick out wide, though, out of bounds on the full. Free kick going to Fremantle. Young, the recipient, who signed a 4-year contract extension during the week, one of Fremantle's best young players.
Absolutely is. Rising Star nominee last year. He wheels away and kicks inside the forward 50. Lob, was he held? There's a free kick there, and he was.
Don't you love it? The umpires come running in, they blow their whistle, and they take about 10 steps before they actually stick their arm out either way. It's a bit of theatre from the umpires.
Matt Taberner getting the free kick for the Dockers.
Yeah, it was off the ball there, Joel. It was the contest below that where it wasn't so much of a hold. It's more that hugging free kick that we see given so much now. It's the hug around his waist and around his hips.
So back into the team last week. Taberner had a couple of injury issues so far this season. Had a quiet outing. He's been reasonably quiet so far to get an important goal to start the second half for Freo. He nails it. And Matt Taberner gets the Dockers started on the right foot in the second half. After a minute and a half, they draw first blood. 3-7-25 Freo. Nam 6-8-44. The spread 19 points.
Well, already we've seen a difference. Young got the ball from out on the full. He went back, long left foot, kicked the ball to 20 metres out from goal, free kick, goal to Fremantle. In that second quarter, when they had the ball in exactly the same position, they went short, then into the centre, and eventually mucked it up.
And what normally happens when you're playing against Narm Football Club, that happens. Max Gorn floats across. Well, guess who was right next to him, bodying him up straight away, which was Darcy, making sure that he was getting Max Gorn out of the contest, or if it came there, he was able to compete with him.
So Fremantle get the start they needed within the opening minute of the second half. We're back in the middle. Gorn tries to go off the deck. That's kicking in danger. Free kick advantage to Fremantle. Mundy hand passes to Brayshaw from the centre square. Low ball inside 50. Lob on the lead. He marks 49 metres out from goal directly in front.
Well, Narm Football Club didn't touch the ball from the centre bounce. The last time they touched the ball was before the last goal. They were able to work it out nicely. Mundy was about to blaze away, and the voice from Andrew Brayshaw to say inboard, he was able to carry it the extra little bit, which had the defenders guessing where it was going to go.
So Rory Lobb, 2 goals in the first half. He lets it fly from just outside 50.
Jeez.
What a kick! Fremantle are making a comeback at the G. Melbourne 6-8-44. Fremantle 4-7-31. 2 goals in 3 minutes to start the second half for the Dockers. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, that's 3 goals for the big fella, Rory Lobb, and free kick the one before, but that one was just a good bit of full forward play. Ball came streaming out of the middle, and he just led hard straight at the kicker. And if it's a good kick, it's virtually impossible for the defenders to spoil that one, and most importantly went back and put it through. But Petrarca just the 5 possessions in that first half, and Big Ben Brown just the one handball. Has not had a kick so far in the game.
So maybe a little bit of ceiling left for Nam in terms of their performances, but this is a great start to the second half for the Dockers. Melbourne coming into this game hadn't trailed at half-time in any game so far this season. Freo out of the middle again. Schultz collects on the half volley at centre-half forward. It skittles his pack, bouncing toward full forward, went through everyone. Hunt got caught by Walters, makes the umpire make a decision at the top of the square. He crosses the arms.
Would have had a free kick Friday night.
Have a ball up right at the top of the goal square. Up they go. Gorn reaches up. Loeb tries to throw a boot at it full forward for Freo. Oliver, lightning handball to Spargo. Flicks it out toward Brayshaw. Can't keep it in for Melbourne. Throw in right forward pocket. Freo into attack at the punt road end. They've nabbed 2 early ones here in this third term. 5 played. It's Narm by 13 points.
So ball tossed back in. Fremantle pressing again. Darcy front position. Although Oliver wins the ball at ground level to Gorn. He has a fumble. Now Viney has a go. He's tackled and brought to ground. Brayshaw picks it up for the Dockers. Quick kick to the top of the square. Lowe couldn't come down with it. And now Jordan emerges with it for Nam. He kicks out wide to Melksham. Is in a one-on-one battle. And he just tries to keep it alive. Good defensive pressure by Akers, rather. Ball spills over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Well done there by Melksham. He knew Akers had the pace on him. He was just experienced. He got it out in front of him and then just blocked his body and was unable to get to the loose ball, Akers there. So well done there by Melksham. As we know, he's sort of ageing at the minute.
Freo camped across half forward. Ball tossed back in. Jordan to Neil Bullen. Curls it up the members' side wing. Pickett reads it nicely off the hands of Fritsch. Runs onto it, kicks inside the 50. Brown out of bounds on the full, goes clattering into the hoardings. Umpire's not called that. That was a metre over the line.
That was more than a metre, Joel. You've been kind. You've been kind.
He was in row G, Jono, taking his seat in aisle 7, seat 13.
And order the pie and a drink on the way through.
He was in the rooms. He was that far up the race.
And now he wants to take his kick from row 15, but the umpire's saying, sorry, mate, you've got to stay in the field.
It's like landing a 747 out on a country airstrip, this approach from Ben Brown. He chips it to the pocket. He was looking for Petrarca, found him eventually. Petrarca roved it off hands. Pearce jams it on the boot for the Dockers outside the defensive 50. Bowie's there, spears it back in, taken by Walters, not the distance. Walker's there for Freo. Handball to Aish, jams it on the boot out toward the wing. Schultz will sit under this. Gawn's across to thump it out. Good work from both Schultz and Gawn. Result is a ball in front of the members.
I can understand if the boundary umpire wasn't in a good position, but he was right there. He was almost sitting on top of Ben Brown.
So you feel this game is just lifted a couple of notches as from the throw-in Dunstan to Oliver to Jordan. Skirts the edges of the boundary line and then kicks Melbourne back into attack in the pocket. Jackson is there, it spills to Cozzy Pickett. Can't do the impossible from the pocket. He sprays it out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Fremantle going the way of Young. They trail by 13, 7 minutes played, third term.
Good to see the boundary umpire pay that out of bounds on the full. Landing 9 rows back in the crowd just to make sure of things. So Young from fullback for Freo. Sends it up toward Lobb, who's imposed himself on this game throughout. Lever had a hand to it there, brought it to ground, locked up, good tackle, Sarong. Boundary side, Karen Peterson on Grandstand AFL.
Harry Petty's just gone down into the rooms with the doc and the physio. He landed very awkwardly a couple of moments ago in a contest. I'll keep an eye on that one for you guys.
Thanks, Kez, the Carlton AFLW captain with us this evening on the boundary. Clayton Oliver's pushed across the line by Aish and will throw it back into play. Nam with 4 goals in that second term. The Dockers with just 1. Freo's jumped out of the blocks here in this third term. 8 minutes gone. It is Nam by 13 points.
So ball in at half forward for Nam. Jackson with the tap down. Melksham trying to fight for it at ground level. He's wrapped up by Brody and the umpire says, I'll have it. Throw up 70 metres out from Nam's goal at right half forward. They lead by 13. Darcy uses the body well against Jackson, but he's given away the free kick. So Jackson can send Melbourne back into attack.
So the West Australian out of East Freo from 65 metres out from goal, kicks it toward Gawn, had 3 Dockers to go against. Dunstan, the activated sub for the D's, pushed across the line and a throw in right forward pocket.
I reckon one of the instructions tonight, especially in his third quarter, was for Darcy to actually go everywhere Max Gawn goes because he hasn't left his side at the start of this quarter.
They're entangled in ruck here. Gawn takes it out of the ruck for Nam, throws it on the right boot, high kick to the goal line, seen through by Pearce for a rushed score. Nam's first of this second half, a minor one. It takes the margin to 14 points through 9 minutes in the third term on Grandstand AFL.
Just watching the rucks again, Gawn's gone one way, Darcy's gone the other way, so Gawn just giving no respect to Darcy at all.
Well, Ryan goes straight up the middle to Darcy, who's marked in the centre square, and Fremantle are off. He kicks it out to Logue, who rises high for a mark at half forward. Hand passes to Taberner, who hand passes over the top to Lobb. He's got 3 goals today from 50 metres, kicks it to the square. Great mark by Angus Brayshaw at the last line of defence, and he takes off immediately. Kicks out wide and finds Dunstan at left half back.
Brayshaw's such a versatile player. Dunstan felled after he took the mark. Handballs over the top to Jordan. They work it forward through Bedford, who's got a brace to his name this afternoon. Spargo kick down the line for Jackson. The D's have opened it up on the outer side. Now Neil Bullen for Nam, slips the tackle. Handball back to Bedford, running to 55 metres out, spears it to the pocket for Fritsch. Finds his chest a metre inside the boundary in the left forward pocket.
Alex Pearce, missed tackle, half forward flank, just opened up his whole defence. He needed to make sure that he was going to lay and nail that tackle on Neil Bullen, but he was able to go through and cause this chain, and then an easy kick inside the forward 50 to allow Fritsch to go straight onto it.
So Bailey Fritsch, the sharpshooter, wrong side for a left footer, just inside the boundary line. It doesn't worry him at all. Fritsch flushes it for his third. That's a tremendous finish from out wide. And the D's with a 20-point break with their first of this third term. 7-9-51. Fremantle 4-7-31. 11 minutes gone third term. Your experts on Grandstand AFL are Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke.
Well, you're right, Jono. The tackle by Pearce, or the missed tackle by Pearce, he had Neil Bullen cold and just put all the rest of his Fremantle defenders and teammates out of position, but that was an outstanding shot for goal from Fritsch, right up his left footer hard up against the boundary line from 40 metres out, and did not look like missing. So it's a bit of an arm wrestle for the last 5-6 minutes, and it took a bit of class there from Fritsch to break it.
Toby Bedford as well, guys. 6 score involvements at the moment, really having his hand in the play here tonight.
Darcy wins it out of the middle for Fremantle. High kick towards half forward. Lob got underneath it. Had a go. Couldn't complete the mark. Then gets the handball away to Aish, who handballs to Brayshaw. From the edge of the square. Hacks a kick inside forward 50. Logue has a couple to beat. It spills out the back to Taberner. Left foot snap towards goal. Marking in the last line of defence is Angus Brayshaw again for Nam.
Didn't like that by Taberner at all, Berkey. He could have came back in and given it some of a chance. He had a few players lying up in the middle of the ground, but as soon as he got that ball, it was almost like, I'm ignoring everything else and I'm going to have a shot from a real impossible angle.
Doing his best Lydia Williams impersonation, Angus Brayshaw on the last line playing the goalkeeper. Long kick up the line, Fritsch the fly, roved beautifully off hands by Spargo for the D's. He kicked it over Max Gorn's head. It's almost impressive. And the mark's taken by Fritsch behind the logo on the outer side. Luke Ryan's down sore off the ball at half forward for the Dockers as well, just clutching the back of his head. Brodie's got it centre wing on the outer side for Freo. Nam by 20 points. Brodie kicks to the edge of the arc. Lob got rid of Jackson. Mark's near the numbers of the 50. No one's manned the mark. Lob just kicks to full forward. Taberner's got Hunt in the one-on-one and got held.
That's not a free kick.
Free kick to Freo at full forward. And Matt Taberner will line it up from point-blank range.
We've seen that from the umpires this week. If you're playing in front as a defender and you reach back to feel the player behind you with two hands, they call it a hold. It's ridiculous.
A couple in this last term for Taberner. And the Dockers have kicked 4 of the last 5 in the game to again close to within 14 points. 5-7-37 Freo. Nam 7-9-51. 14 gone. Third quarter. Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, it's a bit the same, isn't it, Bergie? I think when one player grabs another player and then the other player grabs the other player, well, you can't pick a free kick out of it. I think you just got to let it go because they're both grabbing each other, and I reckon we've seen that a lot this year. But it was just good direct football, and again we came back to, he probably learnt from his lesson there, Lob, where in the last quarter, in the second quarter, he was out on the boundary, had that long shot and just put it right to the goal line where they were able to fist it over the score line. There, puts it to the front of the square, forces the defenders to defend and wins a free kick.
So Fremantle are staying in touch here at the G from the restart. Dunstan gets the handball out to Gawn. He had a fumble though, and Akers collects for the Dockers. Goes for a bit of a run, then from centre wing, pumps it back inside the 50. It's a 2-on-2, and it spills to ground. Logue laying important tackle, but he copped Jordan high. And Nam with the free kick in the defensive 50.
You had him cold then. You've got to go low and get a good tackle. Now it just releases the pressure. If you can get a ball up 35 metres out from goal, well then great. You get an opportunity, get a free kick, get a goal. But a bad tackle like that just releases all your good work.
Jordan to lever finds Gawn by foot on the outer side, who rises in front of Lobb.
Lobb's just grabbed his hammy as well.
Oh, you don't need that. He's limping away, is Rory Lobb. Gawn drops it on the right boot to half forward for the D's. Cox had good position, couldn't take it with him. A couple of fumbles. It's inside the forward 50 here for Nam. Slipping through the traffic is Spargo. Runs to the left forward pocket. Handball knocked down. Good defensive work from Clark, who gives Spargo a shove for his trouble, and will have a ball in left forward pocket inside the forward 50 for the D's, who lead by 14 points halfway through the third.
So Lobb staying on the ground. He's running, in fact, inside 50 to contest this ball in against Brown and wins the tap down. Walker couldn't go with it. Under pressure by Pickett. It's still in play. Pearce, right up against the boundary line, just chips it forward into the path of Mundy. Had too much on it. Intelligent tap by Schultz into the path of Mundy, who drills a pass down the line and finds Logue on centre wing out of side. Logue swings it inboard to Brayshaw. So just forced to hold it up here, Fremantle, as Brayshaw sends it backwards to Walker at centre-half back, who swings it across to the members' side to find Cox.
So Cox has got it in line with the back edge of the centre square. Chips short to Akers. Former Saint, 21 disposals this year for Freo. He goes short to Chapman as they again control the ball here, the Dockers. Now Young in front of the Fremantle interchange.
This is not too bad. I don't mind this. I think the last quarter they were just doing this without no purpose. I think there's a bit of purpose and a bit of structure behind this.
And they're gaining some territory as well as Young kicks to the numbers of the 50. Lob in the pack. Logue had two hands to it, couldn't pull it in. Dunstan's there for the D's. Logue fires in across the pack. Could only knock it as far as Sparrow, who hands off to Rivers, who kicks long down the line, and Young stands in front of the pack, takes the mark. Quickly off they're going here, Freo. Collier to fall forward. Walters the target. Brayshaw there for the D's. Taverner brought it down. It's taken by Frederick. Throws it on the boot, misses. A gilt-edged chance, 15 metres out goes Begging. Margin 13 points. 17 minutes played, third term. Great to have your company on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Rivers to bring the ball back in for Nam. Sends it out to left half back. Taking the intercept mark though is Pearce, who can pump Fremantle back into attack.
This is a bit like the first quarter where Melbourne were just kicking it out and Fremantle, really good setup, were banging it back in.
15-7 intercept marks going the way of the Dockers as Pearce kicks into the pocket. Taberner, one bite, couldn't complete the mark, spills out the back to Hunt, who gets around Lobb, but he's coughed it up to Schultz. Left foot snap towards goal, he's got it. All of a sudden, Fremantle are back within 7 points. It's Nam 7-9-51, the Dockers 6-8-44. 18 minutes played third term, and your experts on Grandstand AFL are Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke.
Well, one way I think, Jono, to put Melbourne under pressure is to get the ball deep, get lots of numbers inside your forward 50 and scramble goals, because you're not probably going to get a lot of those really clean ones where you come out, mark the ball in the chest. So get some ugly ones, and the way to do that is to get the ball into a really dangerous spot 15 metres out from goal.
It is an opportunity here for Fremantle. I don't think I've seen Narn Football Club this vulnerable all season, where you've got no Stephen May and you've got one of their better ball users, better ball winners in Christian Petrarca, only the 6 possessions almost halfway through this third quarter. So they're vulnerable at the moment. They've got to keep peppering that ball inside their forward 50, force the defence of Narn Football Club to defend, and it all starts here in the middle of the ground for Freo.
Yeah, I'm watching Petrarca. He's either sick or incredibly lazy.
So back in the middle.
It's one of the two, because he's not moving.
Brody takes it away for the Dockers. Kicks inside the 50. Bounces off the chest of Logue. Taken by Rivers. Just got the handball away under the Schultz tackle. Brayshaw there for the D's. High kick outside the defensive 50. Through the hands of Tucker over the line. Injury concern for Freo on the bench, though. Let's get downstairs. Karen Peterson.
In good news, Luke Ryan's managed to get himself back out there with some very uncomfortable looking tape around his chin and his head. He just had a cut on the back. Matt Taverner, though, motioned to the dock about 3 or 4 minutes ago on the ground. He's just come from the ground and gone downstairs, so I'll keep an eye on that one.
So throw in between wing and half forward for the Dockers. Brodie wins the clearance, gives it to Frederick. He was caught high. Free kick.
Top of the square here. This is all you got to do. Put it top of the square. Force the Melbourne defenders to defend.
So Frederick assessing his options. And he gets around Rivers. The man on the mark shoots towards goal. That is stunning.
Option B.
Frederick brings Fremantle back within a point. Nam 7-9-51, Fremantle 7-8-50. We've got a gain here at the G as we tick into time onto the third.
Don't listen to me, Michael Frederick.
Well, Clayton Oliver's another one. He had 20 possessions around about 5 minutes into that second quarter. He's up to 27 now, only going to a kicking efficiency of 50%. But he and Petrarca have been pretty much non-existent. Petrarca's been non-existent the whole game. What's he had? He's had 3 handballs this quarter only, Oliver. And both of them just look like they've shut up shop a little bit, and Fremantle capitalising.
That's good work by the Dockers. It's really good work. They just keep getting the ball forward and keep asking Melbourne Football Club the question.
This could be a big old boil over and a statement from the Dockers. They'll come out of the middle again. Brayshaw to half forward. Here's Frederick. Couldn't take the mark this time, but he bounces back to his feet, goes inside the 50 and finds Darcy. Falling to the turf with an almighty thud. He takes the mark, 40 out, smack bang directly in front.
This is the first time he's actually pushed forward after a centre bounce clearance. He's seen it was all happening, all going their way, and he's actually pushed forward, and he's actually stayed in corridor, and he stayed in the vision of his teammate, and he was able to track the ball to him.
Taking on the biggest challenge in the game for a ruck against Max Gawn. What can he do with the challenge in front of the big sticks? He puts the Dockers in front. They trailed by 5 goals at the 23-minute mark of the second term. And Freo, a quarter later, are 5 points to the good. 8-8-56 to Melbourne 7-9-51. We played 22 in the third on Grandstand AFL.
Andrew Brayshaw, Will Brodie have really stepped up in the middle, and we need something now from Oliver, Petrarca and Viney. They're the ones that need to step up. They were dominating in that first part. That's why Melbourne were on top, but they've gone to sleep of late. They need to pick up their game. But Fremantle, you've got to hand it to them. They kept coming and coming and coming. And what we saw in that second quarter, they're not doing in this quarter. They're actually getting the ball forward, getting into dangerous spots.
Well, the 3 of them are in the middle at the moment, Berkey, so they can respond.
7 of the last 8 goals to Fremantle, but Melbourne winning out of the centre through Jackson, who sends them into attack. It's all Fremantle, though. Although they might... Chapman has kicked it into the umpire. It's ricocheted off the umpire and then off a few players out of bounds for a throw-in 55 metres around from Nam's goal.
You missed one thing, Jess. The umpire fell over too.
Scared him, I think.
It's a bit happening. So Fremantle lead it by 5 points. Time on to the third quarter from the ball in. Bowie, Spargo rather, high up and under kick to the pocket. It spills to Neil Bullen, who bounces it towards goal. Missed everything, out of bounds for a throw-in 5 metres around from goal in the right forward pocket.
You know the D's will come back at some point. They won't be without an answer. But Freo have risen to the challenge here in this third term. They lead by 5. Brown in ruck for Nam. Petrarca throws a boot at it. Darcy around the body, tackled by Petrarca, needs to get rid of it. Umpire's right there, says mine.
Well, that was the busiest I've seen Petrarca out of stoppage for the whole game. He won it the first time, got a kick forward, ran forward and tackled the big fella. So where's that energy been?
Brown and Darcy again. Darcy hooks it down. Mundy's there for Freo. Jordan lays the tackle. Tried to get the handball to Viney. Pinched by Brayshaw of the Dockers. Brodie exits the defensive 50. Logue, a superb one-handed mark.
I've liked his game tonight. He hasn't had a lot of the ball, but his competitiveness in the air has been great, Joel.
Controlled it into his body. His first game as a forward, he's been genuinely terrific. And, of course, he's turned it over straight to Lever.
So Lever plays on, gets around Schultz, and then under pressure with the kick, and he's turned it over. Walker takes the intercept mark for the Dockers. Just outside the centre square, defensive side of the wing.
So they need to choose a different mode here now, the Dockers. They just need to settle things down. It's been high tempo for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Walker back to Ryan at centre half back, who sends it out to the outer side and finds Chapman on the wing. Low ball looking for Frederick, had 2 to beat. Chapman follows up, wins the footy, gives it to Tucker. His short kick towards Brodie, fisted away by him, spills to Viney of the Demons. Gives it to Oliver, who hand passes to Dunson. He gives it to Sparrow, who releases Viney by hand from the centre of the MCG, kicks into the forward 50, into the path of Petrarca, had a quiet night, and then misses this one to the left-hand side. It's Narm 7-11-53. They trail Fremantle 8-8-56.
He looks a bit spent to me, Berkey. He must have that flu that's probably going around, or just getting on the back end of that, because he just doesn't look the Christian Petrarca that we know.
Luke Ryan with the reinforced skull, kicks into Cox. Good news on the injury front for Fremantle. Let's get downstairs to Kieran Peterson.
It's a lower back concern for Matt Taberner. He's just entered the field of play, so they're going to roll the dice with him, see if he can get through the game.
Hopefully he can keep on out there. He's been important with a couple of goals here in this term. Rory Lobb's been important as well. He collects the ball off the ricochet, gets thrown to the turf on the AFL logo members' side, and we'll have a ball up. Fremantle 8-8-56, Narm 7-10-52. The Dockers with 6 goals, 3 here in this third quarter, and moving it forward again from the stoppage is Aish. Waltzes away, kicks into the 50. Logue the target. Bowie's going to get back there for Melbourne. Frederick's right there with him. Bowie draws Rivers in support. Frederick got him, threw him across the line. Umpire says chuck it in. Left forward pocket, Dockers into attack.
Normally when you get a bit of a 360 before you go over the line, they might say that's long enough, but benefit of the doubt to the Narm player.
Fremantle leading the clearances at the moment, 6-12, so really getting busy in that part of the ground.
Umpire spins the ball back into play. Darcy with the tap. It spills to Brodie. His hand pass to Walters. He's stripped of it. Oliver gives it to Bowie under pressure with the kick. It's a high up and under down the line. Pearson front position. Did he complete the mark before it went over the line? No. Throw in between wing and half forward. Fremantle into attack. They lead by 4 points.
As they have been for much of this term, camped across half forward. Earlier today, winners Geelong by 7 goals, Brisbane by 14 points. Still to come tonight, the Eagles and the Dogs and the Suns and the Hawks. Brodie off the pack, a former Sun himself, kicks an absolute rainmaker inside the 50. Darcy pinches it off the pack, then goes to ground, takes a hit. Ball on the deck inside the 50 for the Dockers. Comes out to Walters on the left boot. Sonny screws it home. 7 goals in the turn for Freo, the first time they've done it all year. What a time to pull it out. 10-point lead to the Dockers, 9-8-62. Narm 7-10-52, and the D's fans around the MCG are stunned.
Superb shot on goal. Just that's all instincts right there, Berkey. He didn't even look at the goals, just knew where he was on the ground. Obviously, he hasn't played here at the MCG a lot, but just his goal sense was sensational. But spoke about the clearances before. 4 to Brayshaw and 4 to Brodie each in this quarter. And Will Brady really getting himself busy. He's had the 7 possessions as well with Andrew Brayshaw, who's had 8 possessions. So those 2 gentlemen there are really lifting their game this quarter for their football club.
Sonny Walters closing in on 300 AFL goals. He's at 298. It's from the restart. Akers. He's tackled as he kicked it. Goes to Sarong, no. To Aish. Beautiful hand pass to Clark from half forward. Kicks it to the top of the square. Darcy couldn't complete the mark. No free kick. Spills to Bowie, who hand passes to Rivers from the back pocket. Low ball down the line, and Neil Bullen dives as he marks it just inside the field of play.
That one was there, Berkey.
Yeah, big Sean Darcy, 15 metres out from goal, arms in the air, and pretty much had both of them dragged backwards.
It's just about to take a winch to drag Sean Darcy down. Doing pretty well to get the big fella onto the turf. Oliver took it off the pack, the kick toward half forward for the D's. Walker and Pickett both there. Walker's handball to Chapman, caught by Cozzy.
Well done.
So much pressure from Pickett. He wins a free kick at right half forward. He's 60 from home. His side needs him to deliver something here. He kicks to full forward. Lob goes up. Can't bring it in. Pearce goes to ground. Bedford right there with him for Nam. Lays the tackle on Aish and locks the footy up. 30 out from the Nam goal. They trail by 10 points. They led by 25 at the half. We've played 30 here in the third quarter.
Well, Lob there should have taken that mark. He put the big dinner plates up there. Went straight through him.
So ball up. Inside 50 for Melbourne. Jackson, his hand pass doesn't find a target. Intercepted by Aish. He's just quick kick outside defensive 50 is marked by Rivers. Play on, says the umpire. Is tackled by Frederick to ground. Ball up, centre half forward for Nam.
Yeah, touched off the boot there, but well done. Great tackle by Frederick. Great execution there.
Why is it that the person who marks it when it's touched is the only person in the whole ground who doesn't realise it's touched?
Darcy wins down the tap to Sarong to Mundy. His quick kick into the centre of the ground's picked off by Bowie, whose hand pass looking for Rivers. Didn't quite get there. Frederick kicks off the ground, but it's intercepted by Petty at centre half back for the Demons. Gives it to Brayshaw, who's run down. Ball spills free. Lowe gives it to Walters. Pass inside 50, misses. Collier spills to Frederick. He taps it backwards to Schultz. And Fremantle are rising to the occasion at the G. But he's missed. Has he missed?
No, it's goal.
It's a goal.
It is a goal. So Schultz has 2. Fremantle extend their lead to 16 points. They lead 10-8-68 to Nam, 7-10-52. 31 minutes played in the third term.
But I was never that smart on the footy field. I'll let you describe what Frederick did then, because it was just an amazing bit of play. Ball's rolling forward. He had Bowie closing in on him really, really quickly. He just reached out with the right hand, dragged the ball backwards to the player who was following him. Schultz was obviously talking loudly behind him, but just didn't take possession. Sometimes you're running into open goal. Your instinct is, I've got to take possession, I've got to snap it. But he just reached out, dragged the ball backwards into Schultz's path, and he paid him with a goal.
Well, it's just selfless, isn't it? Selfless.
6 in a row for the Dockers, 9 of the last 10, 8 in this quarter alone. They haven't got more than 6 in any quarter coming into tonight so far this year. They might have another here. Collier taps it to Walters, to Mundy, the evergreen, inside the 50, misses left, tug the kick, minus score. Dockers by 17 points. They trailed by 30 late in the second term, by 25 at half-time. It's been 8 goals 2 to 1 goal 2 in this third quarter.
Well, Joel, you read out a text earlier about pressure, and Fremantle got to pick that up. We didn't think that was a part of their game they needed to pick up, but they have. 21 tackles to 13 at the moment, so they're really putting pressure on.
And I think we're hearing a Fremantle chant at the G as Chapman intercepts the footy, sends it back into attack, but Brayshaw's there for the D's and he sends it out wide to the outer side wing. Gawn against Darcy, wins the footy, gives it to Pickett, who's tackled by Walters but evades it. Then kicks up towards half forward. Jackson against Pearce. Well done, Pearce. Sends it over the boundary. I know he's given away the free kick. Jackson will collect the footy at left half forward for Nam.
They just seem more energetic at the moment, Fremantle. They're getting more numbers to the ball. They're helping each other out. They're running in support of each other.
Got to go quickly here. Pickett's got it at half forward. Kicks inside the 50. Fritsch will be the target. And the siren beats the Nam forward foray. What a quarter from the Dockers. A superlative burst in the third term. 8 goals 2 from Freo. And they break the game open, having trailed by 25 points at half-time, by 30 at the 25-minute mark of the second term. At three-quarter time, it's the fourth-place Dockers, 10-9-69 to Melbourne, 7-10-52. The D's haven't trailed going into a final term this year, and the Dockers have really come to play and are throwing down the challenge to three-quarter time. 3 goals to Rory Lobb for Fremantle, 2 to Taberner, 2 to Schultz, singles to Walters and to Frederick. And for Nam, 3 goals to Bailey Fritsch, 2 to Bedford, 1 to Jordan and 1 to Pickett. Three-quarter time, and Naarm's undefeated run of 17 games is in peril. It's the Dockers by 17 points at the G. Final term after this on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
New from ABC Digital and DVD.
From the makers of Line of Duty comes a thrilling new crime series, Trigger Point.
What's your location?
As terrorists threaten London,
You need to hurry!
30 seconds. An elite bomb squad risk their lives to counter the attacks.
They know call-out times, how we think, how we move, everything.
Realise the bombers could be here, watching every move we make.
Trigger Point, out now on digital and DVD. For details, visit abc.net.au/shop.
This is Sir Doug Nichols Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Hand passes to Brayshaw from the centre square. Low ball inside 50, lob on the lead. He marks 49 metres out from goal directly in front. So Rory lob, 2 goals in the first half. He lets it fly from just outside 50.
Jeez.
What a kick! Fremantle are making a comeback at the G. Spills out the back to Hunt. He gets around lob and he's popped it up to Schultz. Left foot snap towards goal. He's got it. All of a sudden, Fremantle are back within 7 points. So throw in between wing and half forward for the Dockers. Brody wins the clearance, gives it to Frederick. He was caught high. So Frederick assessing his options. Oh, and he gets around Rivers. The man on the mark shoots towards goal. That is stunning.
Brayshaw to half forward. Here's Frederick. Couldn't take the mark this time, but he bounces back to his feet, goes inside the 50 and finds Darcy. Falling to the turf with an almighty thud. He takes the mark, 40 out, smack bang directly in front. What can he do with the challenge in front of the big sticks? He puts the Dockers in front. They trailed by 5 goals at the 23-minute mark of the second term. Darcy pinches it off the pack, then goes to ground, takes a hit, ball on the deck inside the 50 for the Dockers, comes out to Walters. Sonny screws it home.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
A withering third term burst from Fremantle, 8 goals 2, and they hold sway at three-quarter time over Naarm by 17 points. The D's having won their past 17 games, 10-9-69 to 7-10-52. A couple of games coming your way tonight as Sir Doug Nichols Round continues, and it gets taken to the top end where the Suns host the Hawks. That's where we find Corbin Middlemass. Corby.
And I'm pretty happy to be here as well, Joel, for the 23rd time we're going to have a game for premiership points up at Marara. It is the first time that the venue has staged a game since the 2020 Dreamtime fixture, of course. We can all remember that, so no footy here at all last year. The Gold Coast Suns hold a piece of unwanted history at the ground. They have the 2 lowest scores ever recorded in their 2 previous matches they've played at the venue, while Hawthorn become the 12th team to play a match here in Darwin. The temperature's around 30 degrees. The dry season has kicked in, so it isn't as humid as other fixtures have been in this part of the world. Unfortunately for the players, though, it won't get below 26 degrees during game time. It's good news for people like me, though, Joel, that we're not in Melbourne. We've got this beautiful weather to enjoy up here tonight, and we've got 2 teams that are knocking on the door of the top 8. Both 4 and 6 sides. One side will be just on the outside of the 8 at the end of the 4 quarters tonight. The other, they'll be in the bottom 6 at the halfway mark of the season. So high stakes between the Suns and the Hawks. Final teams coming up shortly. Raf Clark's going to join me for the call, along with Joel Bowden, Rob Cross and Charlie King. And you mentioned the other game tonight. If you're on ABC Radio in WA and throughout ABC Sport Digital in Perth, you'll be getting the West Coast Eagles and the Western Bulldogs. But the Suns and the Hawks for everyone else, Joel, here tonight up in Darwin.
Thanks, Corb. I think most people in the southern states appreciate you vicariously warming them up with the details of the weather up there in Darwin. Three-quarter time here at the MCG. The Dockers 10-9 to the D's 7-10 before the thoughts of Chris Johnson and Nathan Burke. Karen Peterson on the boundary. The Dockers have made their sub.
They have, Joel. Matt Taverner has been subbed out. The roll of the dice trying to get him through the end of the game has not paid off after kicking 2 goals. He's subbed out. Bailey Banfield gets his chance in the last quarter.
Good on you, Kez. Jono and Berkey, that was extraordinary from Freo in that third term. Can they maintain the rage?
Well, they'd done that in the first quarter, and then once it came to the second quarter, they didn't do that. And this is now the fourth quarter. They're going towards the Pomfret Street end, so they need to maintain that energy, Berkey. And you spoke about it in the later stages of that last quarter, the third quarter. They just had the energy.
Yep, they've got to actually try and win the game. Can't save it. They've got to win it. Play football.
Could be the making of them, this young Freo side. Last quarter underway, they lead by 17 points. Immediately the firm combines for Melbourne. Gawn to Oliver, kick inside the 50 from Sparrow. Roved by Neil Bullen, steps inside one, sends it to full forward. Petrarca slips his man. Young's there to gather on the last line for the Dockers. Handball to Cox, tries to measure it for Andy Brayshaw, thumped away by Sparrow, coming in over the top, tackled by Akers, lost the footy, holding the ball. Free kick to the Dockers on the numbers of the 50 at right half back. Akers will take it.
I really like the way Hayden Young plays. He's really composed as a defender. He's got some really good skills. Here he is right now.
He's marked the footy from Akers, and then Young flares it out wide to Cox, who kicks out to Walker, who's marked at left half back. He chips forward to Ryan, who's marked near the point edge of the square. Called to play on now. Elects to just chip out wide and finds Pearce, centre wing, out of sight of the ground.
Without Taverner, Darcy really has to push forward at every opportunity that he can get and be that long down the line target.
Pearce just thumps it down the line towards half forward. Brayshaw in front. It spills to Sarong. Whacks it on the boot. It's smothered by Oliver. And then Collier can't keep it in. And we've got a ball in between wing and half forward. Fremantle in attack. They lead by 17.
One thing Darcy's done this half, anyway, in the third quarter, is keep Max Gawn very, very honest.
Fremantle with the first goal of the game. Nam kicked the next 6. The Dockers have got 9 of the following 10 to lead by 17 points. Off the pack, Clark for Fremantle. Kicks inside the 50. Petty draped all over load. And the Fremantle fullback come full forward will take the free kick from the numbers of the 50.
Said it in the last quarter, really liked his game. He hasn't had a lot of it, but his ability to actually take some good marks and just give a contest. That's all he had to do there, is give a contest, and he's drawn the free kick and he sets his team up. I just hope now that he just puts it to the top of the square and just forces the Nam Football Club defenders to defend.
So he kicked his only goal in his third game against North Melbourne in round 3 of 2017. He'd have to go every bit of 52 metres from here. On the left boot, puts it to the top of the square. Max Gawn eats it up for dinner. Exactly what Chris Johnson didn't want, and the D's will get out of trouble.
He kicks across the face to Spargo, who's marked in the right back pocket, and chips short to Bowie.
Well, I just had a look where Darcy was when Gawn took that mark, and he was out on the 50-metre line. He needs to get inside around that 30-metre mark to keep Gawn honest and away from that area.
So Bowie to leave it to Brayshaw, who's kicking to the corridor looking for Neil Bullen. Fremantle have the numbers. Darcy to Clark, and now Brayshaw kicks inside 50, and Schultz is marked 49 metres from goal, close to the boundary.
Brayshaw's 24 possessions now, and he's going at 86% kicking efficiency.
That's Andy Brayshaw for listeners at home. There's a couple out there tonight. So Lockie Schultz has kicked 2 goals in the third term. He just lays it up to the top of the square. Gawn fists it over the boundary line into the Fremantle supporters at the City Road end.
So by kicking the ball there, he brings Max Gawn into it. I'd rather see it to the advantage of Darcy, where Gawn is still sitting 10, 15 metres off him, and give Darcy a chance to mark the ball.
15 contested marks to 4 for Freo, just flashing up on the scoreboard. That is a domination from the throw-in. Oh, Sarong out of the pack, jams it on the boot. It's a skyscraper right to the goal line. And it's knocked through for a rush behind. 3 straight kicks the spread. The Dockers 10-10, Nam 7-10. 4 minutes gone, final term on Grandstand AFL.
Bowie brings the ball back in for Nam. A long kick towards the wing. Gawn and Brown the targets. The ball's brought to ground. Clark is there for the Dockers, wrapped up by Neil Bullen, and we've got a stoppage defensive side of the wing.
Challenge for Fremantle here is just to stay focused and concentrate and play this game on its merits.
Gawn with the tap. Viney lays a tackle on Sarong, and we'll do it all again. Near the point edge of the square, Sparrow wins the footy. Handballs to Jordan, who goes backwards to Brayshaw, who gives it back to Jordan from close to the boundary. Nice pass. Finds Sparrow just short of the interchange gates on the members' side.
Dockers led by 8 points at the 11-minute mark of the opening term. They didn't hold the lead again until the third term when they hit the front. Melbourne kicked 6 goals in a row after Freo got the first. Dockers have got 9 of the past 10. Melbourne chipping their way through the centre of the ground here. Hunt to Pickett. Pickett's at centre half forward, 75 from home. Goes inside the 50. A huge rise from Spargo. Soars into the night sky and drags it in 45 metres out. Charlie Boy with a hanger.
Well, that's 3 today we've seen. I might give it a nod to that one. I reckon that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think every nomination for Mark of the Year is going to come in this game. They'd be doing well to top any of this. Can Charlie Spargo finish a miraculous mark off with a set shot goal? He can't. He strikes the right-hand post, leaves it wobbling. 17 points the spread once more, as it was at three-quarter time, 6 into the last.
It's incredible. Spargo almost took it sort of back with the flight almost. It was an incredible mark as Ryan brings the ball back into Young, who releases Clark by hand. Long kick towards the wing is ill-directed, and taking the intercept mark is Wiedemann.
That's okay, Fremantle. Playing on off half-back. What happened there is just the forwards didn't read it as good as what they should have.
So Wiedemann sends it back to where it came from and has turned it over again. And standing tall is Darcy, who kicks backwards inside defensive 50 to Ryan, who wants to send it out to the outer side, hesitated for a moment and then goes out with a long kick and finds Collier.
So Collier's got it, chips it on over the top to Walker. Centre of the southern wing, in front of the Shane Warne stand. Chips short to Walters. Kicked a big goal in that third term, did Sonny Walters. He's had an up and down season. 10th game. 298 career goals in Freo colours for the 5-time leading goal kicker. All-Australian in 2019, comes back to Ryan, and All-Australian in 2020, and sends it back out to Walters.
I haven't seen a big change in Nam wanting to actually win this game. It's not like they've got together at three-quarter time going, right, let's lift, let's really lift. I haven't seen a change.
So they're being challenged here. Their 17-game winning streak in danger. But that kick by Walters out of bounds on the full.
He had a man that he could have came back to there, Walters, and what Melbourne Football Club want them to do is kick long down the line over the mark to a contested situation. They need to just maintain possession, I think.
So Dunstan from right half back for Nam. Long kick down the line is marked by Pickett. Centre wing, southern side of the ground. Nam trail Fremantle by 17 points, 8 minutes into the third. Pickett, long kick towards half forward, going back in the pack is Cox. It spills to Ryan. Hand passes defensively to Clark, inside defensive 50. Straight up the corridor looking for Walker. Brilliant by Fremantle.
Courage there as well, going back with the flight.
Yep, Walker was paid the mark. Dunstan rushing on. He's going to whip it across the back 50 and find Akers out at right half back on the members' side. Blake Akers chips it down the line for Frederick, who presents up in front of the interchange gates. Fremantle 10-10, Nam 7-11.
Melbourne again just setting up for a long kick down the line.
That's what Frederick delivers. Gawn's in the area, and over the top he pulls it in. It sat there waiting for him. He extended the jukes and clunked it on the numbers of the defensive 50. Melbourne only with 1 goal since half-time as Gawn sends them back down the members' side wing.
Looking for Brown, Jackson in the area as well, but it spills Fremantle's way. Sarong to Clark to Young, all by hand. Swings it into the centre half-back region where Walker marks. He chips laterally to Clark, who's marked at right half-back.
They're literally just zoning off here, Narn Football Club. So Fremantle just need to be smart with their ball use here and use up the free that they can find in between. Avoid kicking over the mark.
So Clark chips short to Young, flares it out wide to Chapman, who's marked still at right half-back, 5 metres in from the boundary.
And it's just whether this is where you want that time out, Berkey, to get the coach out there to sort of just explain it to him.
Chapman kicks up the line. Gawn and Darcy. Gawn slaps it toward the boundary. It's over and out for a throw-in. As the Melbourne fans will their team on here. Ball in front of the members. many of them trying to rouse some life into their team's charge. No goals in this final term, 9 minutes in. Boundary throw-in's not the greatest one of all time. It was spinning sideways. Brodie through the pack for the Dockers. Horizontal along the ground, got the handball to Clark. He handballed to Mundy, to Walters. Courage back with the flight, couldn't drag it in. There was a terrific effort on the edge of the 50. Hunt's dragged down for the D's in the tackle. And it's locked up at right half forward for Freo.
And that all comes back to the connection between Mundy and Walters there. He knew Walters was there, and Walters trusted him, knew that he wouldn't put him in danger.
Dockers by 17. Ball up on the edge of 50. Mundy gives it to Clark, to Brodie, who hand passes to Brayshaw. Defensive hand pass to Schultz. He kicks it inside 50. Flying across the pack was Akers. Couldn't bring in the mark. Collier and Hunt wrestle for it. The umpire says, I'll have it. Ball up 40 metres out from Fremantle's goal directly in front. Ball up. Jackson wins down the tap and then has to play tackler on Aish. And the umpire says, let's do it all again.
I think this is where Melbourne are very dangerous. They can win this ball and get a fast break and get behind the defence of Fremantle.
Behind a piece, 10 minutes into this last term. Margin 17 points. Walters reads it off the pack, hooks it back toward goal. Logue in the wrestle in the goal square. Banfield picks it up, tries to slip the tackle. Handball to Frederick, spins on a dime, and Biden sealed it! Michael Frederick puts the Dockers 23 to the good. And that might be enough to secure a famous victory. 11-10-76 Freo with 9 goals, 3 since half-time. Nam 7-11-53, 11 and a half gone final turn.
Well, I think Fremantle, they've looked since half-time, the team who have wanted it more. They're more energetic, they're tackling harder, they're outnumbering at the contest, they're playing some really good attacking football, and Nam just looked like they're labouring. They gave it everything in that second quarter and probably thought, you know what, we'll probably just keep rolling on like we always have for the last 18 games and knock over this mob. But Fremantle, to their credit, said, no way, not today.
Fremantle are throwing down the challenge to the defending Premier. What have they got in these final moments at the MCGs? Jackson wins it out of the middle, sends it inside 50, and Cox takes the intercept mark for the Dockers.
Well, the Dockers have doubled Melbourne or Narn Football Club in this quarter in possessions, 50 to 25.
Cox chips short to Chapman from inside the defensive 50. Kicks long down the line. A pack forms. Hunt goes up. Couldn't come down with the mark. Brodie to Collier. Hand passes to Frederick. Has a bounce. Tries to get around Bowie. And then hand passes back to Collier, who loops a hand pass over the top to Logue. From left half forward. It's a long kick to the square. Off hands. Schultz out the back. Fremantle are racing away here at the MCG. Schultz has 3. Fremantle 12-10, 82. Nam 7-11, 53. The margin is 29 points. 13 minutes played, final term. Your experts are Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson. What are we seeing?
Well, it's going to go down to Schultz, but Akers just getting across to give that contest, Berkey, was just outstanding. Got it to ground level. Otherwise, Lever comes across and takes an uncontested mark.
And you look at the what we thought would lift for Melbourne. There's 8 Melbourne players who have not touched the ball this quarter, and there's only 10 minutes to go, including in those of Viney and Petrarca have not touched it. Clayton Oliver had 1 handball.
8 goals on the bounce for the Dockers. This is something.
Does this become the blueprint to be able to beat Narn Football Club for the rest of the year? What Fremantle have been able to show in this half of football have really been a great display.
Out of the middle, Jackson wins it down for Nam. Aish grabs it. Jackson grabs him, wrestles him to the grass, and we'll have a ball up.
For me, it was the move to actually just go man on man with Max Gawn for Darcy. For me,
Viney's in and under for the D's. Angus Brayshaw handball. Bowie missed Viney, who collides with Andy Brayshaw, hacks it off the deck and lands in the lap of Melksham off the ground of 45 metres off the boot of Jack Viney. He was like a defender hacking it out in the A-League Grand Final later tonight, just clearing the area. And Melksham's latched onto it, 49 out, 5 in from the boundary left of centre.
Viney's struggling a bit too, guys, just after that little collision there with Andrew Brayshaw. So he's got some trainers around him in a minute, but it doesn't look good.
So Jake Melksham in game number 200. He'll have to kick it every bit of 52 to drag one back and give them some hope. He starts it right. It's going across the line. It's helped through by Lobb. Minor score to Nam. Margin 28 points the way of Fremantle. 15 minutes gone in the final term here at the Melbourne Cricket Grounds.
It's been a stunning second half by Fremantle. They lead by 28 as Ryan brings the ball back in and chips short to Clark, who's marked in the right back pocket. They'll be content now, I think, to try and waste some time. Clark, his kick is smothered off the boot by Petrarca over the boundary line for a throw-in 40 metres around from Nam's goal.
Well, still time here for Melbourne to get some respect on the scoreboard and just put a little bit. If they can get the next 2 goals in the next 3 or 4 minutes, just puts a little bit more pressure on Fremantle.
Ball tossed back in. Gawn wins it down. Sarong's inside the defensive 50 for the Dockers. Ryan up and under, skies it into the corridor. Lever bangs it back the other way for Melbourne with a fist. Sarong read it beautifully off hands. Handball to Schultz. Handball to Andy Brayshaw. Right foot kick in front of the interchange gates. Gobbled up by Wiedemann, who takes the mark in front of Logue. Rolls immediately. Turns it over. Banfield let in the door. He knocked it down as well. Combines with H to force it wide to Schultz. Schultz inside the 50 for Collier, who's got Frederick bursting back toward the goal square if he wants him. Goes back behind his mark and settles on the kick 48 metres out.
Yeah, good idea. Just take your time here. No need to rush. Go back.
Taking the air out of the footy, Trav Collier, as he spins it in his hands. The D's get some tall numbers back to the goal square. He strikes it from 51. He's got every bit of it. And the Dockers are showing they are every bit good enough. Margin 34 in a second half blitz. 13-10, 88 Freo. Nam 7-12-54. The streak will end right here at 17. The Dockers are going to do it.
I don't want to gloat, but I tipped this.
I said no chance.
You're all scorned when I tipped Freo, but yeah, they've been outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Just the team play that they have. They work for each other. They tackle for each other. It's not all about... You really get the sense that it doesn't matter who gets possessions. They're not running around just trying to get cheap possessions, not just chalking them up. They actually work for each other and tackle.
And in that way, you know who they remind you of?
Not Essendon?
The team that they're playing at the moment.
Oh, sorry.
Definitely not Essendon.
And Fremantle might come away with it from the middle again as Darcy under pressure with the kick. It's a high up and under, but Collier marks.
Got one-on-ones. Got to go forward quick before they get numbers back.
And he does just that as Collier gives it everything he has and sends it deep inside 50. Lever with the fist. It spills to Jordan, who hand passes to Hunt, who gives it off to Viney. Hand passes backwards to Jordan. They're under pressure. His kick is going to be picked off by Cox and it's going to come back again.
Well, they've played 3 quarters of good football, Fremantle. That second quarter, they just went into their shells and stopped backing themselves, stopped backing their run and carry.
Cox goes long inside 50. Lobb climbs over the pack. Couldn't pull in another screamer. Would have been our 4th of the evening. Bowie handed it off to Oliver. Unfortunately, Jake Bowie's not going to draw level in the record for consecutive wins from debut. Sarong sends it inside forward 50 for the Dockers. Angus Brayshaw's been terrific. Goes back with the flight. Gobbles up a defensive mark. Right in the defensive goal square for the D's. Freo 13-10-88. Nam 7-12-54. It's a 34-point ball game as we tick toward time on in the last.
Brayshaw's long kick out of the defence, looking for Gawn over his head, falls into the path of Viney, who has a bounce and tries to, I think, kick it to himself. It dribbles 10 metres. Walker's there for the Dockers. He's tackled by Pickett, holding the ball.
Well, they're leaving in their drives at the moment, the Melbourne or the Narn Football Club supporters. So they're given hope that they can't make any challenge with 6 minutes remaining.
Bowie squares up the kick, Pickett squares it up to Bowie, who kicks long into the pocket. It's off hands over the line for a boundary throw in, 20 metres around from Narm's goal. 29,812 fans through the gates this afternoon, but unfortunately for Melbourne fans, they're going to watch their team's 17-game winning streak come to a close.
Ball tossed back in. Dunstan has it for Narm. Off to Jordan. Snaps on goal, and it's going to go right to the line. Young was there to touch it. It was certainly on target from Jordan, with what could be a consolation prize for the D's. Hayden Young rushing back there, both arms outstretched to thump it through for what he hopes is a rush behind, or is it being even maybe touched off the boot as well? They're going to review both ends of this. Brennan Cox has got a hand to that, I reckon, actually. His left hand moves.
Little finger. Left little finger.
So, don't worry, Hayden Young, your work was all in vain because it was touched off the boot.
Big change in form, wasn't it, Berkey? Last week against Collingwood, they just couldn't get going, could they, Fremantle? And this week they come to the MCG up against Premiership favourites and able to turn on 3/4 of good football and had a lapse of concentration maybe in that second term.
Yeah, considering Tapman has gone off the ground, injured, he didn't really play a lot of the game, wasn't influential when he was playing, so it's a wonderful effort.
So behind is official margin, 33 points as Young brings the ball back in for Fremantle, and Darcy took the mark, but Gawn was held. So Gawn, 80 metres from Narm's goal. Wheel around and can send it into the pocket, looking for Ben Brown, who's been well held tonight. The ball spills to ground. Melksham couldn't go with it. Picked up by Aish, who gives it to Clark, who hacks it out of the danger zone. It's a high kick towards half-back, and Gawn thumps it over the line for a boundary throw-in, 60 metres around from the Demons' goal. They trail by 33 points, 22 minutes into the last quarter.
Well held is an understatement there, Jess. Big Ben Brown has not touched the ball in this half, and only twice in the first half.
He's been tethered more than held. Oliver, he ran riot in the early stages, had 19 disposals about a minute into the second term. Brodie chased it toward the boundary line. He's been prolific as well. Goes out in front of the interchange. It'll be thrown back in. The Dockers came into the game, or came into the round 7-3 in fourth. They knocked off Geelong down at the Cattery a few weeks ago. That seemed like a momentous occasion in their development. That will pale in comparison to this evening. Akers takes it off the pack and kicks it out of bounds on the full. When you're a young side, what can this do for you in terms of belief, Jono?
Oh, gives you a lot. Halfway through that second quarter, it didn't look like they were going to be any chance to win here, Fremantle, but certainly this is going to give them the world of confidence. They shouldn't lose another game at home this year if they can come here and win. That's a great sign for the Fremantle Footy Club.
Jordan kicks it inside 50, but Fremantle with the numbers. Pearce, his kick outside defensive 50, though, is intercepted by Gawn, who's marked 52 metres out at left half forward.
I'd like to see a little bit more. Yeah, would like to see a little bit more urgency here, considering there's still, just over 5 minutes left, or just under 5 minutes left.
He just thinks he's a chance, Big Max.
Well, a few weeks ago against the Giants, almost the same spot on the ground. He kicked one from here.
He has been flushing them from outside 50.
It's late in the game, very casual.
Here we go. He winds up and then decides to just pop it into the corridor. Falls 30 metres out from goal, spills to ground. Pickett tries to emerge with it. He gets the handball out to Viney, who evades. Darcy throws it on the outside of the boot and misses to the right-hand side for a minor. Narm moved to 7-14-56. They trail Fremantle 13-10-88.
Where's that right foot, Jono?
Yes. I can't talk. I never had a left foot.
It's not often you say a player doesn't have a right foot. Cox, Ryan, in fact, thumps it in for the Dockers to the members' side, straight down the throat of Max Gawn, almost on repeats. 9 marks for Max Gawn tonight. Chips short to Viney. He's been busy with 28.
Sean Darcy just getting a bit fatigued at the moment.
Viney kicks to half forward. Akers got in there to knock it away from Jordan. Angus Brayshaw for the Demons. Handball, Darcy and Gawn set themselves, and big Darcy lumbers after it and collects it like he was about 5'1". He gets now to Schultz, who kicks the Dockers to half forward. Banfield stands under it. Lever comes over the top, picks it off for the D, sends it back the other way. His kick picked off by Walters of Fremantle.
He hand passes to Aish, who gives it off to Brody. His short kick, not sure if that's 15, just the required distance, finds Akers at the top of 50.
Well, they had Frederick at the back. He actually got past all the Narn Footy Club defence, and he had about 20 metres between his and opponent, so they could have looked up a little bit there and potentially used him to kick his third.
Yeah, smart play here by Akers, just taking all of his time.
So Akers will have to kick it 55. Gets under it a bit. It's going to pitch at the top of the square. Gone with the fist. Schultz again. He's got 4 and puts the exclamation mark on an outstanding performance by the Fremantle Dockers. They move to 14-10-94 to Narn 7-14-56. The margin's now blown out to, can you believe it, 38 points. 25 minutes played in the final term. Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson.
Well, small forward, you love them. Just get to the right spot, front and square, and when the defender spalls it straight down back inside the corridor and you happen to be sitting there, there's nothing better than that, and you couldn't get any luckier at the top of the goal square to fall right into your lap, and then nothing in front of you to run into an open goal. Look, Fremantle, hats off to you. Didn't tip you at the start of the game. Berkey did. Berkey did. You've done really, really well, and you've earned my respect tonight. And I reckon you've earned a lot more respect here in Melbourne tonight, or the football world, in fact.
Every time Lachie Schultz kicks 2, Fremantle win. They are 16 of 16. He's kicked 4 tonight, so he's gone even 2 better than that. That is a very nice stat. That's a Clint Wheeldon, who's coming up in the next game for our West Australian audience. The Dockers, the Dogs and the Eagles. And this will be a win that resonates not only in the West, but really right throughout the competition, as Brody kicks inside the 50. Lowe goes up, can't pull it in, still searching for that second goal in his 52nd game, having kicked his only goal in his 3rd match of AFL, as Angus Brayshaw runs it outside the defensive 50 for the D's, and now they're going to get 50. The ball knocked out of the hands there. And so it'll be waltzed toward half forward by James Jordan, who'll take it for Narn.
Kicks it into the pocket. Fritsch with the fly. Couldn't come down with the mark. There's Brayshaw over the top of the pack. Locks it up for a ball in. A ball up, rather. Right forward pocket for the Demons. It's the Fremantle chant rings out at the MCG. You don't hear that every day. As Chapman gives it to Brayshaw, who hacks a kick outside defensive 50, and Schultz, who's kicked 4 goals today, has marked at left half back.
So the Moama product goes to defensive 50 and finds Cox. Comes across the arc to Young, who's going to be so integral to everything that's ahead of this Fremantle side. So too Chapman with 15 marks this afternoon, Heath Chapman. Luke Ryan, an All-Australian of a couple of years ago and a best and fairest winner, to Lobb, who imposed himself on the contest early. In fact, that was Chapman, who kicks to Mundy, who's seen so much in Fremantle colours. This would be among the best wins he's played in, I imagine. He knocks it defensively again to Ryan.
So they're just content to waste time off the clock now as Ryan goes back to Mundy, who's marked 5 metres in from the boundary at right half back. Called to play on as Mundy drives it long down the wing to a pack out in front. Petty. That's a good defensive mark. He's got it at centre wing. Can wheel around and send it back into attack. Brown has a couple to beat, and out the back is Cox. The Fremantle defence has been really good today.
It's been really the foundation of their success so far this season. Cox chips short to Ryan, who directs some traffic, wants some numbers to present down the line as he stands with his hands on his hips, ball on his arm, under his arm inside the defensive 50. He skies it in front of the interchange gates. Oliver waits out the back for it for Narm. hooks it around his body towards centre-half forward. Clark scoots into mark for the Dockers. And he's going to go back and settle on his kick. They trailed by 25 points at half-time, Fremantle. An 8-goal second term rocketed them into the lead. And they're going to record a famous victory at the MCG. It's a win for the Dockers, but it's a win for the Dreamers. Freo are the real deal in season 2022. And they bring Melbourne's undefeated run to an end at 17 games. They kicked the first of the game, Freo, through Rory Lobb, who ended up with 3 goals. Nam kicked the next 6 goals of the match. They led by 25 points at half-time, 8 goals, 2 in the third term. They finished with 4 more in the last, and Fremantle record a famous victory to go to 8-3 and entrench themselves in the top 4. They hadn't won here since 2019. What a way to do it. And Melbourne's winning run ends at 17 in a row. The Dockers are one of the contenders in 2022. There's no doubt about it now. They've stamped their credentials and franked their form with the biggest of victories. 14-10-94. to Nam 7-14-56 here at the MCG. We're with you for about another 14 minutes before we send you your separate ways either to the Gold Coast and Hawthorn this evening or to the Eagles and the Dogs. We'll get the Fremantle song. We'll try to get some reaction from the rooms, even if it's quick, just to sum up everything that we've seen tonight. Earlier today, winners Geelong by 42 points and Brisbane by 14. The goal kickers in this match, such a momentous occasion for Freo. 4 to Schultz, 3 to Lobb, 2 to Taberner and Frederick. Taberner subbed out in the third quarter. Goal to Darcy, a goal to Walters, a goal to Collier. A big goal to Trav Collier in this game in the final term. For Nam, 3 goals to Fridge, 2 goals to Bedford, both of them in the second term. A goal to Jordan and a goal to Pickett. Freo 14-10, Nam 7-14, Nathan Burke and Chris Johnson. You get the feeling that we've just seen the start of what could be something special.
Absolutely. I saw Fremantle beat Geelong down at Geelong. I was really impressed that day. They got off to a terrible start, but just came back and just played great team football. They played as a team and was very, very impressive. And we saw the last couple of weeks haven't been playing good football. It wasn't a great lead in to come in and play the reigning premiers, undefeated reigning premiers. And right from the start, they just seemed like they were on. And that showed me that, hey, this group know how to play. They know what it takes to be good footballers. They lost their way completely in that second quarter, but then found it at half-time and came out and really dominated this second half. So I was impressed with Fremantle against Geelong, not so much the last couple of weeks, but today was an outstanding team effort.
Couldn't agree more with you, Berkey. I really, driving here this afternoon, I thought, yeah, the Dockers have played good football down here in Victoria, but I just thought Melbourne or Narn Football Club were going to be a little bit better tonight. But I think it all came down that in the second half there were a few changes made. Especially one change that I was really, not a change, but more of a focus on, Jess, was more around Darcy just going one-on-one with Maxi Gawn and didn't have the influence in that third quarter as he had for the first 2 quarters Gawn. And I thought that was a good move. And sometimes it's a real challenging thing for a player, Berkey, as you would know, is to sacrifice your own game for the team. And instead of him actually going off and trying to get his own possessions, He just had to stop Gawn. He had to stop Gawn around the ground and stop Gawn having an impact, and I think that's what he did. And look, there was a number of efforts that really, really impressed me tonight from the Fremantle Football Club, and the way they just stuck to the task. The task after half-time, their run and their carry and their ability to link up and not to be just stagnant, as we've seen in the second quarter. They changed their whole game plan, and I think credit to the coaching staff that got there and actually got their mindset and changed how they wanted to play. There were times where they went backwards, and they needed to go backwards and go sidewards, and then opened up the other side of the ground, and then they just worked hard to get to the opposite side.
And Fremantle players are soaking up this victory out there on the ground. They're moving towards their cheer squad at the city end of the ground. And on Fremantle, we know that they're a young side, but they were trailing by 30 points during that second quarter. And then it's already a big test coming into this game against a defending Premier. But when you're down 5 goals in the second quarter, the mental strength to be able to keep yourselves in it and then produce what they did in the second half, 12 goals to 1 is incredible against that outfit. I mean, they just must be just brimming with confidence.
The key is probably if you come in at half-time and you're 25 points down or 30 points down, whatever they were, and you're playing really good football, then the coach sort of says, there's not a lot the coach can actually do. Yeah. But the positive thing was the coach very clearly he had plan A in the first quarter, plan B in the second quarter. Was plan B's not working, guys. Let's not play like this. It's fresh in the players' minds. They can run up that race onto the field in that second half going, right, let's not do that. And they didn't do that, and they got away with a win, which was outstanding. So the good news was, even though they were behind, there was a real reason of why they were behind.
How much do we read into Melbourne losing Stephen May?
A bit, but you know what? It wasn't the big key forwards or anything that killed them. Lob kicked 2 in that third quarter. Schultz took over in the late second half and kicked 4. To me, their engine room completely ran out of puff, completely stalled. Petrarca, the very first contest down here in front of me, he could have had about 3-4 efforts. He had none. He just stood there and watched. I thought, this guy's either turned lazy or there's something wrong with him. He's too good a player to say he's lazy. Maybe when he first started. He hasn't been the last couple of years, but something wrong with him. Oliver, second half went missing. Viney, last quarter went missing.
The margins are so tight that when you are that 10% off, every player talks about when you're that 10% off, that you just don't have the wiggle room anymore. And with sides that are rising up the ladder like Freo are, that's exactly the case. A 38-point win to the Dockers. They break Naarm's undefeated run at 17 games. As they filter into the rooms, David Mundy was in conversation with Justin Longmuir on the field. Plenty of players here had family and friends around the ground as well that they were saying g'day to. And as the Freo players come in, David Mundy and Luke Ryan arm in arm as they walk into the rooms. They'll be a very happy bunch. The Carlton AFLW captain Karen Peterson is with us on Grandstand AFL. Kez, give us a little bit of the atmosphere down in the Dockers rooms.
I can barely hear you guys, to be honest. It's absolutely chaos down here. Very, very happy camp with Freo. Big winners tonight by 38 points. They're just circling up. Here we go.
Very, very happy bunch, and may well they be. That was a big statement from Freo tonight. We'll grab some reaction from the Dockers rooms very shortly. We're with you for about another 7 minutes here on Grandstand AFL. They look like they're heading into a meeting, which hopefully is a very, very quick one. The Dockers will get you something as soon as we can down in the Dockers rooms. They win by 38 points over Naarm here at the MCG. We talked about that belief factor too, Jono. I mean, they've not only done it once, but they've done it twice. Berkey talked about the Geelong game with Freo. So now there's clearly something building there. Justin Longmuir's got them playing the right way. You could see it in glimpses last year. They fell off. They had a really poor end to last season when the door was open for them to play finals and they just couldn't kick it down. They ran into it and fell over. But now they look a different team, and there's still a couple of clear areas for improvement. And maybe Nat Fyfe coming back in next week.
Yeah, exactly, and sitting him up forward and just sort of easing him into the midfield. But we spoke about a little earlier, Berkey, around the coaches identifying what needed to happen. But the thing for me is, yes, the coach, that's what they get paid to do, but the coaches don't have much more than that to do. And then the players, that takes credit, it takes guts, it takes determination, and it takes leadership as well out there. So obviously collectively as a group, they've said to each other, okay, we're going to execute this. We're going to actually get out there and actually do what the coaches have asked us in this second half. And they listened. And we know that things can get in the way, egos and all those little bits and pieces, but they've been able to get the momentum, because all the momentum was going Melbourne's way. I think it was a 25-point lead at half-time. They chipped it away and got back to it. But this is a massive, massive game to win down here, MCG, and I spoke about it in pre-game. If they're going to make it to the last day in September, they need to win here today, and they've done that. They came down here, they've given their supporters. Imagine back in WA how rapt and how excited they'd be over there, coming over here and giving it to a Melbourne club that has won premiership over there last year.
Particularly the last 2 weeks too, as we know, hasn't been the best by Fremantle. They've lost to Gold Coast and Collingwood by a combined 72 points. They were under the pump. The WA media can be quite vicious, as the fans can be as well. They would have come here going, we need to perform because we've dropped our last two by big margins, and they've done exactly that. Against
teams that aren't really we're talking about finals contenders at the moment in the Gold Coast and Collingwood. And look, it's just something that you like to be within a football club where you actually have a chat to them, or you review and you look at things and players respond. And once they respond, you think, yes, we've got a good group here. And I think the response today by Fremantle, I think the coaching staff, the supporters will be very happy with their football team.
And a lot of fans as well. 0437774774. Marcus in South Melbourne, who's been a correspondent throughout. Jono, he says, the Mighty Dockers win the inaugural Jeff Farmer Cup. Perhaps we are a chance after all. And Greg from Bendigo, I actually don't mind this one. Hi, guys. Great win by Freo. Can we D supporters argue that Melbourne remains undefeated, seeing as Nam lost today? I don't think so, Greg. That's clutching at straws, but I don't mind your creativity.
Nan is the traditional Wurundjeri language for Melbourne here, well before Melbourne was actually introduced. So, yeah, fair point.
And it's been great to see the Naarm Football Club embrace the Sir Doug Nicholls Indigenous round as they have. I think, going forward, they'll do it in the AFLW as well when it takes its turn to do this too, and recognise the contribution of Indigenous culture to the game and to society. And I think the more that the Indigenous culture can filter into society as a whole is only a good thing.
Yeah, it's great. And it took us a little while, it even took me a little while to get the Melbourne word out of my mouth and start using that. They're a great initiative, and hope to see more of it.
ABC Footballer of the Year votes, Chris Johnson.
Yes, I handed over to Berkey last week, so we're doing this rotation system, so I'm happy to do that. Special mentions to, obviously, Sean Darcy. He was very good tonight. And I just want to mention Michael Frederick up forward. I thought he was very, very good at the same time. But my one vote goes to tonight. He's a little forward. He's had 18-odd possessions up as a small forward and kicked 4 goals. So Schultz... certainly Lachlan Schultz there. He gets my one vote. And now I guess I look towards some of the midfielders that were up and about. I know Ryan was unlucky to be in the votes as well, but Will Brodie, fantastic. But Andrew Brayshaw will get my 2 votes tonight. He was fantastic within the middle of the ground. He had a number of contested possessions and clearances as well. So 7 contested and 6 clearances. But my 3 votes today go to Will Brodie. 28 possessions, 12 contested possessions, 7 clearances, and 7 inside forward 50s, and 7 score involvements.
He has been a find for them, hasn't he? Traded for a 2nd and a 4th round pick, Will Brodie, and number 9 pick overall out of Shepparton by the Gold Coast. Played 25 games up at the Gold Coast. Couldn't break into the side on a regular basis.
It's a bargain.
And They've found a prime midfielder, and they've got Nat Fyfe, the Brownlow medalist, to come back potentially next week. That's a hell of a luxury. We've got a minute and a half before we're out of here, so we won't get a Fremantle interview by the looks because they are in a meeting. But our WA audience and the rest of our audience, don't worry, we'll send something down the line to play in your next game, whether that's the Western Bulldogs and West Coast or Gold Coast and Hawthorn. So very quickly, Berkey, the ceiling for Fremantle this year. Where do you think it lies after a performance like that?
After that, they've got to be thinking, let's go all the way. Let's finish top 4. That's where they should be aiming. There's absolutely no reason with all the other sides floating around from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that they couldn't be right up at that pointy end.
I think top 2, Berkey. Yep. I think top 2. That way, top 2, they give themselves 2 home finals if they go win-win, and then be here. If they win those 2 home finals, they'd be here in last day in September.
The trick is they can't lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to anymore. No more losses to Suns and Collingwood and those sort of games.
And that's probably been where they've faltered in recent years. But you couldn't have asked for more from Fremantle today. That was a stunning performance in the second half. They turned 25 points down and they won by 38, 14-10-94 to Nam 7-14-56. Jono and Berkey, great to be here to see it all with you. Thanks very much to Jess Webster, to Stu pushing the buttons here, to Kez down in the rooms who'll grab a chat from the Freo rooms for us. That was really something special from the Dockers this afternoon. 38-point winners. A couple of games coming your way tonight. For a lot of our audience, you're headed to Darwin at Marara, the Suns and the Hawks. For our WA listeners, you're headed west for the Eagles and the Western Bulldogs. No matter where you are, enjoy the rest of your night. Plenty more footy to come here on Grandstand.